The Life of Henry V. By William Shakespeare. Enter Prologue. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest hoen of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment, but pardon gentles all the flat Vienne-raced spirits that hath dared on this Vienne-worthy scaffold to bring forth so great an obact. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France, or may we cram within this wooden the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let these ciphers to this great accompt on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high reared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts into 1,000 parts, divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think when we talk of horses that you see them printing their proud hoofs i'th receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, eomping times, turning accomplishment of many years into an hourglass, for the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to urge our play. Enter Actus Primus, Scona Prima. Enter the two bishops of Canterbury and Ely. Bish Cant, my lord, I'll tell you that self-bill is vrg'd, which in allueth year of why last king's reign was like and had indeed against versus past, but that the scambling and Vienne quiet time did push it out of farther question. Bish Ely, but how, my lord, shall we resist it now? Bish Cant, it must be thought on, if it pass against these, we lose the better half of our possession, for all the temporal lands which men doubt by testament hold genuine to the church, would they strip from versus, being valued thus, as much as would maintain to the king's honour full 15 earls and 1,500 knights, 6,200 good esquires, and to relief of Lazars and weak age, of indigent faint souls past corporal toil, 100 almshouses right well supplied, and to the coffers of the king beside, £1,000 by year, thus runs the bill. Bish Ely, this would drink deep. Bish Cant, 'twould drink the cup and all. Bish Ely, but what preuntion? Bish Cant, the king is full of grace and fair regard. Bish Ely, and a true lower of the holy church. Bish Cant, the courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too, yea, at that very moment. Consideration like an angel came, and whipped offending Adam out of him, lowing his body as a paradise, in Ulip and contain celestial spirits. Newer was such a sardine scholar made, newer came reformation in a flood, with such a heady current scouring faults, nor newer hydra-headed wilfulness, so soon did lose his seat, and all at once, as in this king. Bish Ely, we are blessed in the change. Bish Cant, hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish, you would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs. You would say it hath been all in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered you in musique. Turn him to any cause of policy. The Gordian knot of it he will vien loose. Familiar as his garter, that when he speaks, the air a chartered libertine is still, and the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears, to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences, so that the art and practique part of life must be the mistress to this theorique, which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to courses vain, his companies vien lettered, rude and shallow, his hours filled VP with riots, banquets, sports, and nor noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration, from open haunts and popularity. Be Ely, the strawberry grows vien underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries threw and ripen best, neighboured by fruit of baser quality. And so the prince obscured his contemplation, viender the veil of wildness, which, no doubt, grew like the summer grass, fastest by night, vien seen yet cresceu in his faculty. Be cant, it must be so, for miracles are ceased, and therefore we must needs admit the means, how things are perfected. Be Ely, but my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill, vrg'd by the commons, doth his majesty incline to it or no? Be cant, he seems indifferent, or rather swaying more vipon our part, than cherishing exhibitors against v's. For I whole made an offer to his majesty, vipon our spiritual communication, and in regard of causes now in hand, which I whole open to his grace at large, as touching France to gu a greater sum, than you were at one time the clergy yet did to his predecessors part withal. Be Ely, how did this offer seem received, my lord? Be cant, with good acceptance of his majesty, saw that there was not time enough to hear, as I pursued his grace would fain ha done, the sewerals and vien hidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally to the crown and seat of France, derived from Edward, his great-grandfather. Be Ely, what was impediment that broke this off? Be cant, the French ambassador vipon that instant, crowd audience, and the howray I think is come, to gu him hearing, is it 4 o'clock? Be Ely, it is. Be cant, then go we in to know his embassy, which I could with a ready guess declare, before the Frenchmen speak a word of it. Be Ely, I'll wait vipon you, and I long to hear it. Exeunt. Enter the King, Humphrey, Bedford, Clarence, Warwick, Westmoreland, and Exeter. King, where is my gracious Lord of Canterbury? Exeter, not here in presence. King, send for him, good Viencicli. Westham, shall we call in ambassador, my liege? King, not yet, my cousin, we would be resolute, before we hear him, of some things of weight, that task our thoughts concerning V's in France. Enter 2 bishops. Be cant, God and his angels guard your sacred throne, and make you long become it. Kings, sure we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed, and earnestly and religiously vien fold why the law solake that they whore in France, or should not bar versus in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion, rest or bow your reading, or nicely charge your understanding soul, with opening titles miscreate whose right suits not in natty you colours with the truth. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your ruerance shall incite verses to. Therefore take heed how you impon our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war, We charge you in the name of God take heed. For newer two such kingdoms did contend, without much fall of blood, whose guiltless drops are yery one a woe a sore complaint, gainst him whose wrongs Jews edge vento the swords, that make such waste in brief mortality. Viender this canny oration speak my lord, for we will hear note and believe you in heart, that what you speak is in your conscience washed, as pure as sin with baptismy. Be can, then hear me gracious sour rain and you peers, that owe your salus, your lius and services, to this imperial throne there is no bar, to make against your highness claim to France, but this which they produce from Pharamond, in terram salicum mulieres ni succedent. No woman shall succeed in Sarlike land, which Sarlike land the French veniustly glows, to be the realmy of France and Pharamond, the founder of this law and female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Sarlike is in Germany, between the flouds of Sala and of Elu, where Charles the Great Hoing subdued the Saxons. There left behind and settled certain French, who holding in disdain the German women, for some dishonest manners of their life, established then this law, to wit no female should be inheritrix in Sarlike land, which Sarlike, as I said, twixt Elu and Sala, is at this day in Germany called Meissen. Then doth it well appear the Sarlike law was not devised for the realmy of France, nor did the French possess the Sarlike land, till 421 years after defunction of King Pharamond, idly supposed the founder of this law, who died within the year of our redemption, 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxons and did seat the French beyond the Riua Sala in the year 800 Fiu. Besides their writers say, King Pepin, which deposed Childeric, did as heir general, being descended of Blithild, which was daughter to King Clothair, make claim and title to the crown of France. Hugh Capet also, who usurped the crown of Charles the Duke of Lorraine, sole heir male of the true line and stock of Charles the Great, to find his title with some shows of truth, though in pure truth it was corrupt and not, canoed himself as heir to Lady Lingar, daughter to Charlemagne, who was the son to lose the emperor and lose the son of Charles the Great, also King Louis X, who was sole heir to the usurper Capet, could not keep quiet in his conscience, wearing the crown of France till satisfied that fair Queen Isabel, his grandmother, was lineal of the Lady Ermengarde, daughter to Charles the foresaid Duke of Lorraine, by the which marriage the line of Charles the Great was reunited to the crown of France, so that as clear as is the summer's sun, King Pepin's title and Hugh Capet's claim, King Louis his satisfaction, all appear to hold in right and title of the female. So do the kings of France vento this day. Howbeit they would hold VP this Salique law, to bar your highness claiming from the female, and rather choose to hide them in a net, than amply to embar their crooked titles, usurped from you and your progenitors. King, may I with right and conscience make this claim. Bish can't, the sin vipon my head dread sour rainy. For in the book of Numbers is it writ, when the man dies let the inheritance descend vento the daughter, gracious lord. Stand for your own, vn wind your bloody flag. Look back into your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread lord, to your great grandsire's Tom, from whom you claim, in Uke his warlike spirit, and your great VN Sinclair's Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy, making defeat on the full power of France, whiles his most mighty father on a hill stood smiling to behold his leon whelp forage in blood of French nobility. O noble English that could entertain, with half their forces, the full pride of France, and let another half stand laughing by, all out of work and cold for action. Bish, awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their feats. You are their heir, you sit upon their throne. The blood and courage that renowned them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in the very May morn of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises. Exc, your brother kings and monarchs of the earth, do all expect that you should rose yourself, as did the former Leon of your blood. West, they know your grace hath cause and means and might. So hath your highness, newer king of England, had nobles richer and more loyal subjects, whose hearts whole left their bodies here in England, and lie poignant in the fields of France. Bish can, oh let their bodies follow my dear liege, with bloods and sword and fire to win your right, in aid whereof we of the spirituality will race your highness such a mighty sum, as newer did the clergy at one time bring in to any of your ancestors. King, we must not only arm tea in you hit the French, but lay down our proportions to defend against the Scot, who will make road vipon v's, with all advantages. Bish can, they of those marches gracious sour rain, shall be a wall sufficient to defend our inland from the pilfering borderers. King, we do not mean the coursing snatchers only, but fear the main intendment of the Scot, who hath been still a giddy neighbour to these. For you shall read that my great-grandfather newer went with his forces into France, but that the Scot on his Vienne-furnished kingdom came pouring like the tide into a breach, with ample and brim fullness of his force, galling the gleaned land with hot assays, girding with grievous siege castles and towns, that England being empty of defence, hath shook and trembled at th ill neighbourhood. Be can, she hath been the more feared the harmed, my liege, for hear her but exampled by herself, when all her chivalry hath been in France, and she a mourning widow of her nobles. She hath herself not only well defended, but taken and impounded as a stray the King of Scots, whom she did send to France, to fill King Edward's fame with prisoner kings, and make their chronicle as rich with praise as is the Ouse and bottom of the sea, with sunken wrack and some less treasuries. Bish, Ely, but there's a saying very old and true, if that you will France win, then with Scotland first begin. For once the eagle England being in prey to her guarded nest, the weasel Scot comes sneaking and so sucks her princely eggs, playing the mouse in absence of the cat, to tame and hawk more than she can eat. Exet, it follows then the cat must stay at home. Yet that is but a crushed necessity, since we haul locks to safeguard necessaries, and pretty traps to catch the petty thieves, while that the armed hand doth fight abroad. A doised head defends itself at home. For government though high and lower, put into parts doth keep in one consent, congregating in a full and natural close, like music. Cant therefore doth hoen dewide the state of man in dewer's functions, setting endure in continual motion, to which is fixed as an aim or but. Obedience, for so work the honey bees, creatures that by a rule in nature teach the act of order to a peopled kingdom. They whore a king and officers of sorts, where some like magistrates correct at home, Others like merchants venter trade abroad. Others like soldiers armed in their stings make boot vipon the summer's veloute buds, which pillage they with merry march bring home to the tent royal of their emperor, who busied in his majesty's surroise, the singing masons building roofs of gold, the Sewell citizens needing VP the honey, the poor mechanic porters crowding their hoey burthens at his narrow gate, the sad-eyed Eostis with his surly hum, deluring o'er to executors pale, the lazy yawning drone, I this infer, that many things hoying full reference to one consent may work contrariously, as many arrows loosed sur all ways come to one mark, as many ways meet in one town, as many fresh streams meet in one salt sea, as many lines close in the dial's centre, so may 1,000 actions once afoot, and in one purpose and be all well born, without defeat. Therefore to France, my liege, divide your happy England into 4, whereof take you 1/4 into France, and you withal shall make all Gallia shake. If we with thrice such powers left at home cannot defend our own doors from the dog, let these be worried and our nation lose the name of hardiness and policy. King, call in the messengers sent from the Dolphin. Now are we well resolute, and by God's help, and yours the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, we'll bend it to our oar, or break it all to pieces, or there we'll sit, ruling in large and ample empery, or France and all her almost kingly dukedoms, or lay these bones in an VN worthy VRNE, tombless with no remembrance o'er them. Either our history shall with full mouth speak freely of our acts, or else our growl, like Turkish mute, shall whore a tongueless mouth, not worshipped with a waxen epitaph. Enter ambassadors of France. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dolphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king. May it please your majesty to gu versus lo, freely to render what we haw in charge, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dolphin's meaning and our embassy? King, we are no tyrant but a Christian king, VNTO whose grace our passion is as subiect, as is our wretches fettered in our prisons. Therefore with frank and with VN curbed plainness, tell versus the Dolphin's mind. Thus then in few, your highness lately sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III, in answer of which claim the prince our master says that you saw too much of your youth, and bids you be a doist. There's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot rule into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dolphin speaks. King, what treasure viencly? Exe tennis balls, my liege. Kin, we are glad the Dolphin is so pleasant with these. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we haw matched our rackets to these bowls, we will in France by God's grace play a set, shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler, that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases, and we understand him well, how he comes a reversus with our wilder days, not measuring what VSC we made of them. We knew a valued this poor seat of England, and therefore leawing hence did gu ourself to barbarous license, as tease you are common, that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dolphin I will keep my state, be like a king and show my sail of greatness, when I do rose me in my throne of France. For that I whore laid by my majesty, and plodded like a man for working days. But I will rise there with so full a glory, that I will dazzle all the eyes of France. Yea, strike the dolphin blind to look on these, and tell the pleasant prince this mark of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them for many 1,000 widows. Shall this his mark out of their dear husbands, mark mothers from their sons, mark castles down, and some are yet vien gotten and vien born, that shall whore cause to curse the dolphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the dolphin I am coming on, to venge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the dolphin his east will soar but of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Canoe them with safe conduct, fare you well. Exeunt ambassadors. This was a merry message. King, we hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hurray, that may gie you furtherance to our expedition. For we haw now no thought in these but France, saw those to guard that run before our business. Therefore let our proportions for these wars be soon collected, and all things thought vipon, that may with reasonable swiftness add more feathers to our wings, for God before we'll chide this dolphin at his father's door. Therefore let Ury man now task his thought, that this fair action may on foot be brought. Exeunt. Flourish, enter chorus. Now all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now through you the armourers and honour's thought reigns solely in the breast of Ury man. They sell the pasture now to buy the horse, following the mirror of all Christian kings, with winged heels as English Mercuries. For now sits expectation in the air, and hides a sword from hilts vento the point, with crowns imperial, crowns and coronets, promised to Harry and his followers. The French are doized by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. O England, model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart, what mightst thou do, that honour would thee do, were all thy children kind and natural. But see, thy fault France hath in thee found out a nest of hollow bosoms which he fills with treacherous crowns and 3 corrupted men, one Richard Earl of Cambridge, and the second Henry Lord Scroop of Masham, and the third Sir Thomas Grey Knight of Northumberland. Ha for the guilt of France, O guilt indeed, confirmed conspiracy with fearful France, and by their hands this grace of kings must die, if hell and treason hold their promises, ere he take ship for France, and in Southampton linger your patience on, and we'll digest abuse of distance, force a play. The sum is paid, the traitors are agreed, the king is set from London, and the scene is now transported, gentles, to Southampton. There is the playhouse now, there must you sit, and thence to France shall we canoe you safe, and bring you baccy, charming the narrow seas, to Giu you gentle pass, for if we may, we'll not offend one stomachy with our play, but till the king come forth, and not till then, vento Southampton do we shift our scene. Exit. Enter Corporal Nym and Lieutenant Bardolph. Bars, well met Corporal Nym. Nim, good morrow, Lieutenant Bardolph. Bar, what are ancient pistol and you friends yet? Nim, for my part I care not, I say little, but when time shall seru there shall be smiles, but that shall be as it may. I dare not fight, but I will wink and hold out mine ear on. It is a simple one, but what though? It will toss cheese and it will endure cold as another man's sword will. And there's an end. Bar, I will bestow a breakfast to make you friends, and we'll be all three sworn brothers to France. Let be so good corporal Nim. Nim, faith, I will lee you so long as I may, that's the certain of it, and when I cannot lee you any longer I will doe as I may. That is my rest, that is the renduous of it. Bar, it is certain corporal that he is married to Nell quickly, and certainly she did you wrong, for you were troth plight to her. Nim, I cannot tell, things must be as they may. Men may sleep, and they may whore their throats about them at that time, and some say news whore edges. It must be as it may, though patience be a tiered name, yet she will plod, there must be conclusions, well I cannot tell. Enter Pistol and quickly. Bar, here comes ancient Pistol and his wife, good. Corporal, be patient here, how now mine host Pistol? Pist, base tyke calsty thou me hast now by this hand I swear I scorn the term, nor shall my Nell keep. Lodgers. Host, no by my troth not long, for we cannot lodge and board 12 or 14 gentlewomen that lee you honestly by the prick of their needles, but it will be thought we keep a body house straight. O well-a-day lady, if he be not hewn now, we shall see wilful adultery and murder committed. Bar, good lieutenant, good corporal offer nothing here. Nim pish. Pist pish for thee island dog, thou prick-eared cur. Of island. Host, good corporal Nim show thy valour and put VP your sword. Nim, will you shag off, I would haul you solus. Pist, solus egregious dog, O viper vile, the solus in thy most meruelous face, the solus in thy teeth and in thy throat and in thy hateful lungs, yea in thy more purdy, and which is worse within thy nasty mouth. I do retort the solus in thy bowels, for I can take, and Pistol's cock is VP, and flashing firewolf. Nim, I am not Barbasson, you cannot canaille me, I horn humour to knock you indifferently well. If you grow foul with me Pistol, I will scour you with my rapier, as I may in fair terms. If you would walk off, I would prick your guts a little in good terms, as I may, and that's the humour of it. Pist, O braggart vile and damned furious wight. The graw doth gape, and doting death is near. Therefore exhale. Bar, hear me what I say, he that strikes. The first stroke, I'll run him VP to the hilts, as I am a soldier. Pist, an oath of mickle might and fury shall abate. Giu me thy fist, thy forefoot to me Giu, thy spirits are most tall. Nim, I will cut thy throat one time or other in fair terms, that is the humour of it. Pistol, couple a gorge, that is the word, I defy thee again. O hound of Crete, think'st thou my spouse to get? No, to the spittle go, and from the powdering tub of infamy fetch forth the lazar kite of Cressid's kind, dull. Tear sheet she by name and her espouse, I whore and I will hold the quondam quickly for the onely she, and Pocker, there's enough to go to. Enter the boy. Boy, mine host Pistol, you must come to my maester and your hostess, he is very sick and would to bed. Good Bardolph, put thy face between his sheets and do the office of a warming pan. Faith, he's very ill. Bard, away you rogue. Host, by my troth he'll yield the crow a pudding one of these days. The king has killed his heart. Good husband, come home presently. Exit. Bar, come, shall I make you two friends? We must to France together. Why the deal should we keep news to cut one another's throats? Pist, let floods o'erswell and fiends for food howl on. Nim, you'll pay me the 8 shillings I won of you. At betting. Pist, base is the slaw that pays. Nim, that now I will haw, that's the humour of it. Pist, as manhood shall compound, push home. Draw. Bard, by this sword he that makes the first thrust. I'll kill him, by this sword I will. Pie, sword is an oath, and oaths must haw their course. Bar, copperal Nim, and thou wilt be friends, be friends. And thou wilt not, why then be enemies with me too, prithee. Put VP. Pist, a noble shalt thou whore and present pay, and liquor likewise will I you to thee, and friendship shall combine and brotherhood. I'll lee you by Nim, and Nim shall lee you by me. Is not this erst? For I shall sutler be vnto the camp, and profits will accrue. You me thy hand. Nim, I shall whore my noble. Pist, in cash most erstly paid. Nim, well then that the humour aft. Enter hostess. Host, as you come of women, come in quickly to Sir Ion. A poor heart he is so shacked of a burning quotidian tertian, that it is most lamentable to behold. Sweet men come to him. Nim, the king hath run bad humours on the night. That's the ewan of it. Pist, Nim, thou hast spoke the right, his heart is fracted. And corroborate. Nim, the king is a good king, but it must be as it may, he passes some humours and careers. Pist, let versus condole the night, for lambicans we will lee. Enter Exeter, Bedford and Westmoreland. Bed, fore guard his grace is bold to trust these traitors. Exe, they shall be apprehended by and by. West, how smooth and ewan they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms sate, crowned with faith and constant loyalty. Bed, the king hath note of all that they intend, by interception which they dream not of. Exe, nay, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he hath dulled and cloyed with gracious forras, that he should for a foreigny purse so sell his sour Rainey's life to death and treachery. Sound trumpets. Enter the kings Scroop, Cambridge and Grey. King, now sits the wind fair and we will aboard. My lord of Cambridge, and my kind lord of Masham, and you my gentle knight, you me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with versus will cut their passage through the force of France, doing the execution and the acti, for which we in head assembled them? Scrow, no doubt my liege, if each man do his best. King, I doubt not that, since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with vies from hence, that grows not in a fair consent with ours, nor lo not one behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on versus. Cam, newer was monarch better feared and lewd. Then is your majesty, there's not I think a subact that sits in heart grief and venesiness. Vienda the sweet shade of your government. Nay, true, those that were your father's enemies, who steeped their galls in honey, and do serve you with hearts creative duty and of zeal. King, we therefore hold great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hand sooner than quittance of desert and merit, according to the weight and worthiness. Scrow, so Cerois shall with steeled sinews toil, and labour shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant services. King, we urge no less, Viencli of Exeter, enlarge the man committed yesterday, that railed against our person, we consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more arduous we pardon him. Scrow, that's mercy but too much security. Let him be punished sour Rainy, least example. Breed by his sufferance, more of such a kind. King, O let these yet be merciful. Cam, so may your highness, and yet punish too. Grey, sir, you show great mercy if you jew him life, after the taste of much correction. King, alas, you're too much low and care of me. Our holy orisons gainst this poor wretch, if little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye? When capital crimes, chewed, swallowed and digested, appear before versus, we'll yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge, Scroop and Grey, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, wold ho him punished. And now to our French causes, who are the late commissioners. Cam, I won my lord, Your Highness bade me ask for it today. Scroll, so did you me my liege. Grey and I my royal sour rainy. King, then Richard Earl of Cambridge there is yours. There yours Lord Scroop of Masham and Sir Knight. Grey of Northumberland this same is yours. Read them and know I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and V. Encley Exeter. We will aboard tonight, why how now gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you loose? So much complexion, look ye how they change. Their cheeks are paper, why what read you there? That horse so cowarded and chacked your blood. Out of apparence. Cam, I do confess my fault. And do submit me to your Highness' mercy. Grey Scrow, to which we all appeal. King, the mercy that was quick in V's but late. By your own counsel is suppressed and killed. You must not dare for shame to talk of mercy. For your own reasons turn into your bosoms. As dogs vipon their maisters worrying you. See you my princes and my noble peers. These English monsters, my Lord of Cambridge here. You know how apt our Law was to accord. To furnish with all appurtenance. Belonging to his honour, and this man hath for a few light crowns lightly conspired, and sworn VNTO the practices of France, to kill V's here in Hampton, to the which this night no less for bounty bound to V's. Then Cambridge is hath likewise sworn, but oh, what shall I say to thee Lord Scroop, thou cruel, ingrateful, sage and inhumane creature? Thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that knew'st the very bottom of my soul, that almost mightst ha coined me into gold, wouldst thou ha practised on me for thy VSC? May it be possible that for any hire could out of thee extract one spark of Uil? That might annoy my finger, 'tis so strange, that though the truth of it stands off as gross, as black and white my eye will scarcely see it. Treason and murder you are kept together, as two yoke deals sworn to either's purpose, working so grossly in a natural cause, that admiration did not hoop at them, but thou gainst all proportion didst bring in wonder to wait on treason and on murder. And whatso a cunning fiend it was that wrought vipon thee so preposterously, hath got the voice in hell for excellence, and other deals that suggest by treasons, do botch and bungle VP damnation, with patches, colours and with forms being fetched from glistering semblances of piety. But he that tempered thee bade thee stand VP. Gore thee no instance why thou shouldst do treason, vn less to dub thee with the name of traitor. If that same demon that hath gulled thee thus should with his lion gait walk the whole world, he might return to vasty Tartarbaki, and tell the legions I can newer win a soul so easy as that Englishman's. Oh, how hast thou with Eolausi infected the sweetness of affiance, show men dutiful. Why so didst thou, seem they grow and learned? Why so didst thou, come they of noble family? Why so didst thou, seem they religious? Why so didst thou, or are they spare in diet? Free from gross passion, or of mirth or anger? Constant in spirit, not swearing with the blood? Garnished and decked in modest compliment? Not working with the eye without the ear? And but in purged judgment trusting neither? Such and so finely bolted didst thou seem, and thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot, to make thee full fraught man and best endued. With some suspicion I will weep for thee, for this rult of thine methinks is like another fall of man. Their faults are open, arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices. Exe, I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Richard Earl of Cambridge, I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas. Lord Scroop of Marsham, I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas. Grey, Knight of Northumberland, Scrow, our purposes God earnestly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my deaths, which I beseech your highness to forgive you, although my body pay the price of it. Cam, for me the gold of France did not seduce, although I did admit it as a mo to you, the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thanked for preuntion, which in sufferance heartily will reise, beseeching God and you to pardon me. Grey, newer did faithful subact more reise, at the discovery of most dangerous treason, then I do at this hour I or myself, prewented from a damned enterprise. My fault but not my body, pardon sour rainy. King, God quit you in his mercy, hear your sentence. You ha conspired against our royal person, eined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would ha sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our person seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you sought that to her laws we do deliver you, get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death, the taste whereof God of his mercy gie you patience to endure and true repentance of all your dear offences, bear them hence. Enter now, lords, for France, the enterprise whereof shall be to you as these like glorious. We doubt not of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way, to hinder our beginnings. We doubt not now, but Uri rub is smoothed on our way. Then forth, dear countrymen, let these deliver our puissance into the hand of God, putting it straight in expedition, cheerly to see the signs of war adoance. No king of England, if not king of France, flourish. Enter pistol, Nym, Bardolph, boy, and hostess. Hostess, prithee, honey, sweet husband, let me bring thee to Staines. Pistol, no, for my manly heart doth earn. Bardolph, be blithe, Nym, rose thy vaunting veins. Boy, bristle thy courage, VP, for Falstaff he is dead, and we must earn therefore. Bard, would I were with him wheresoever he is, either in Hohen or in hell. Hostess, nay, sure he's not in hell, he's in Arthur's bosom. If your man went to Arthur's bosom, a made a finer end and went away, and it had been any Christome child, a parted yoon erst between 12 and 1, yoon at the turning o'th tide. For after I saw him fumble with the sheets and play with flowers and smile vpon his finger's end, I knew there was but one way, for his nose was as sharp as a pen, and a table of green fields. How now, Sir Ion, quoth I. What man? Be a good cheer. So I cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. Now I to comfort him bid him I should not think of God. I hopped there was no need to trouble himself with any such thoughts yet, so I bade me lay more clothes on his feet. I put my hand into the bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone. Then I felt to his knees, and so VP peered and VP ward, and all was as cold as any stone. Nym, they say he cried out of sack. Hostess, I that a did. Bard, and of women's. Hostess, nay, that a did not. Boy, yes, that a did, and said they were duels incarnate. Woman, a could newer abide carnation, 'twas a colour. He newer licked a. Boy, a said once the duel would haw him about. Women. Hostess, a did in some sort indeed handle women, but then he was rheumatique, and talked of the whore of Babylon. Boy, do you not remember saw a flea stick vpon Bardolph's nose, and a said it was a blacky soul burning in hell? Bard, well, the fuel is gone that maintained that fire. That's all the riches I got in his service. Nym, shall we shog, the king will be gone from Southampton. Hist, come, let's away. My loud gew me thy lips, look to my chattels and my mowables, let senses rule. The world is pitch and pay, trust none. For oaths are straws, men's faiths are wafer cakes, and holdfast is the onely dog. My duck, therefore, Coido, be thy counsellor. Go, clear thy crystals. Yokefellows in arms, let verses to France like horseleeches, my boys, to suck, the very blood to suck. Boy, and that's but VN wholesome food, they say. Pissed, touch her soft mouth and march. Bard, farewell hostess. Nim, I cannot kiss, that is the humour of it, but adieu. Pissed, let huswifery appear, keep close, I thee. Command. Hostess, farewell, adieu. Exeunt. Flourish. Enter the French king, the Dolphin, the Dukes of Berry and Britain. King, thus comes the English with full power vipon vis, and more than carefully it versus concerns, to answer royally in our defences. Therefore the Dukes of Berry and of Britain, of Brabant and of Orleans shall make forth, and you Prince Dolphin with all swift dispatch, to line and new repair our towns of war, with men of courage and with means defendant. For England his approaches makes as fierce as waters to the sucking of a gulf. It fits these then to be as prudent as fear may teach versus, out of late examples, left by the fatal and neglected English. Vipon our fields. Dolphin, my most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm versus gainst the foe. For peace itself should not so dull a kingdom, though war nor no known quarrel were in question, but that defences, musters, preparations should be maintained, assembled and collected, as were a war in expectation. Therefore I say, 'tis meet we all go forth, to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let these do it with no show of fear, no with no more than if we heard that England were busied with a Whitsun Morris dance. For my good liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne, by a vain giddy shallow humorous youth, that fear attends her not. Canst, O peace, Prince Dolphin, you are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution. And you shall find his vanities forespent were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, cowering discretion with a coat of folly, as gardeners do with ordure hide those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate. Dolphin, well, 'tis not so, my lord high constable, but though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defence, 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems, so the proportions of defence are filled, which of a weak and niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth. King, think we King Harry strong, and princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed vipon vis, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted vis in our familiar paths. Witness our too much memorable shame, when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captured by the hand of that black name, Edward, Black Prince of Wales, whilst that his mountain sire on mountain standing, VP in the air, crowned with the golden sun, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature and deface the patterns that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. This is a stem of that victorious stock, and let verses fear the natiu mightiness and fate of him. Enter a messenger, ambassadors from Harry King of England, Do craw admittance to your majesty. King, we'll gie you them present audience. Go and bring them. You see this chase is hotly followed, friends. Dolphin turn head in stop pursuit, for coward dogs most spend their mouths, we what they seem to threaten. Runs far before them, good my sour rainy. Take VP the English short, and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-low, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting. Enter Exeter. King, from our brother of England. Exe, from him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you in the name of God Almighty, that you doest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of Hohen, by law of nature and of nations longs, to him and to his heirs, namely the crown, and all wide-stretched honours that pertain, by custom and the ordinance of times, VNTO the crown of France, that you may know. 'Tis no sinister nor no awkward claim, picked from the wormholes of long-vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion racked. He sends you this most memorable line, in Uri branch truly demonstrate you, willing you our look this pedigree, and when you find him ewenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him, the natty you and true challenger, king, or else what follows. Exe bloody constraint, for if you hide the crown, Ewan in your hearts there will he rake for it. Therefore in fierce tempest is he calming, in thunder and in earthquake like a Io, that if requiring fail he will compel, and bids you in the bowels of the Lord deliver VP the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls for whom this hungry war opens his vasty eyes, and on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the prey maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lowers, that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message. Vien lest the dolphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greeting to. King, for these we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother of England. Dolph for the dolphin. I stand here for him, what to him from England? Exe, scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that may not me's become. The mighty sender doth he prize you at. Thus says my king, and if your father's highness do not, in grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an answer of it, that cause and wamby voltages of France shall chide your trespass and return your mock. In second accent of his ordinance, Dolph say, if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England, to that end, as matching to his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris balls. Exe, he'll make your Paris lower shake for it, were it the mistress court of mighty Europe. And be assured you'll find a difference, as we his subjects whore in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days, and these he masters now he weighs time. Ewan to the VT most grain, that you shall read in your own losses if he stay in France. King, tomorrow shall you know our mind at full flourish. Exe, dispatch these with all speed, least that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he is footed in this land already. King, you shall soon dispatched with fair conditions. A night is but small breathe, and little pause. to answer matters of this consequence. Exeunt. Actus secundus. Flourish, enter chorus. Thus with imagined wing our swift scene flies, in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Dower Pier embark his royalty and his braw fleet, with silken streamers the young Phoebus feigning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold Vipon the hempen tackle, ship boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle, which doth order you to sounds confuzzed. Behold the threaden sails, borne with inusable and creeping wind. Draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Oh, do but think, you stand Vipon the reuage, and behold a city on in constant billows dancing. For so appears this fleet majestical, holding due course to Harflew. Follow, follow. Grapple your minds to sternage of this noy, and lo your England as dead midnight still, guarded with grandsires, babies, and old women, either past or not a rude to pith and puissance. For who is he whose chin is but enwrecked with one appearing hair that will not follow these culled and choice-drawn colliers to France? Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harflew. Suppose ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catherine his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and profitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the dealish cannon touches. Alarum in chambers go off, and down goes all before them. Still be kind, and each out our performance with your mind. Enter the king, Exeter, Bedford, and Gloucester. Alarum, scaling ladders at Harflew. King, once more VNTO the breach. Dear friends, once more, or close the wall VP with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, commune VP the blood. Disguise fair nature with hard forward rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the portage of the head. Like the brass cannon, let the brow o'erwhelm it, as fearfully as doth a gold rock, or rehang an earty his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wastful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath and bend VP Ury spirit to his full height. On you noblish English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof, fathers that like so many Alexanders whore in these parts from morn till Ewan fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonour not your mothers, now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show verses here. The metal of your pasture, let verses swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straying vipon the start, the game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and vipon this charge. Cry God for Harry, England, and S. George. Alarum in chambers go off. Enter Nym, Bardolph, Pistol, and Boy. Bard, on to the breach, to the breach. Nym, pray thee corporal stay, the knocks are too hot, and for mine own part I whore not a case of leus, the humour of it is too hot, that is the very plain song of it. Pist, the plain song is most earst, for humours do abound, knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die, and sword and shield in bloody field doth win immortal fame. Boy, would I were in a alehouse in London, I would gie you all my fame for a pot of ale and saffety. Pist and I, if wishes would preule with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but thither would I hie. Boy, as duly but not as truly as bird doth sing on. Bows. Enter Fluland. Flew, VP to the breach, you doggers, aren't you? Cullions. Pist, be merciful, great Duke, to men of mould. Abate thy rage, abate thy manly rage, abate thy rage, great Duke. Good Bocock, bate thy rage, VSC lenity, sweet Chuck. Nim, these be good humours, your honour wins bad. Humours. Enter. Boys, as young as I am, I whore observed these three swashers. I am boy to them all three, but all they three, though they would seru me, could not be man to me. For indeed three such antiques do not amount to a man. For Bardolph he is white leeward and red fact, by the means whereof a faces it out but fights not. For Pistol he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword, by the means whereof a breaks words and keeps whole weapons. For Nym he hath heard that men of few words are the best men, and therefore he scorns to say his prayers, lest a should be thought a coward. But his few bad words are matched with as few good deeds. For a newer broke any man's head but his own, and that was against a post when he was drunk. They will steal anything and call it purchase. Bardolph stole a lute case, bore it 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Nym and Bardolph are sworn brothers in filching, and in Callis they stole a fire shower. I knew by that piece of service the men would carry coals. They would haul me as familiar with men's pockets as their glows or their handkerchers, which makes much against my manhood if I should take from another's pocket to put into mine, for it is plain pocketing VP of wrongs. I must loathe them and seek some better service. Their villainy goes against my weak stomachi, and therefore I must cast it VP. Enter. Enter Gower. Gower, Captain Fluellen, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester would speak with you. Flew to the mines. Tell you the Duke it is not so good to come to the mines. For look you, the mines is not according to the disciplines of the war. The concordies of it is not sufficient. For look you, adversary, you may discuss VNTO the Duke, look you, is dict himself 4 yard viender the countermines. By Cheshire, I think I will plough VP all if there is not better directions. Gower, the Duke of Gloucester, to whom the order of the siege is genuine, is altogether directed by an Irish man, a very valiant gentleman i' faith. Welch, it is Captain Macmorris, is it not? Gower, I think it be. Welch, by Cheshire he is an assay, as in the world I will verify as much in his beard. He has no more directions in the true disciplines of the wars, look you, of the Roman disciplines, then is a puppy dog. Enter Macmorris and Captain Iemi. Gower, here a comes, and the Scots captain. Iemi with him. Welch, Captain Iemi is a marvellous valorous gentleman, that is certain, and of great expedition and knowledge in ancient wars, vipon my particular knowledge of his directions. By Cheshire he will maintain his argument as well as any military man in the world, in the disciplines of the pristine wars of the Romans. Scott, I say good day, Captain Fluellen. Welch, garden to your worship, good captain. Iames. Gower, how now, Captain Macmorris, how you quit the mines, how the pioners genuine Irish. By Crishlaw tish ill done, the work ish gew hour, the trumpet sound the retreat. By my hand I swear and my father's soul, the work ish ill done. It ish gew hour, I would haul blowed VP the town, so Crish saw me law in an hour. Oh tish ill done, by my hand tish ill done. Welch, Captain Macmorris, I beseech you now, will you vouchsafe me, look you, a few disputations with you, as partly touching or concerning the disciplines of the war, the Roman wars in the way of argument, look you, and friendly communication, partly to satisfy my opinion, and partly for the satisfaction, look you, of my mind. As touching the direction of the military discipline, that is the point. Scott, it's all be very good feath, good Captain's Bath, and I soul quit you with good loo as I may pick occasion, that's all I merry. Irish, it is no time to discourse, so Crish saw me. The day is hot, and the weather, and the wars, and the king, and the dukes. It is no time to discourse, the town is besieged. And the trumpet call versus to the breach, and we talk, and be Crish do nothing, 'tis shame for v's all. So God Sam, 'tis shame to stand still, it is shame by my hand. And there is throats to be cut, and works to be done, and there ish nothing done, so Christ Sam law. Scott, by the mees erthise eyes of mine take themselves to slammer, ale de gud seruis or I'll lig ath grund for it, I or go to death, and I'll pate as valorously as I may that sal I surely do that is the bref and the long. Mary I wad full fain heard some question tween you tway. Welch, Captain Macmorris I think look you, viender your correction, there is not many of your nation. Irish of my nation, what ish my nation? Ish a villain and a bastard and a gnaw and a rascal, what ish my nation, who talks of my nation? Welch, look you if you take the matter otherwise than is meant, Captain Macmorris, peradventure I shall think you do not vsc me with that affability, as in discretion you ought to vsc me, look you being as good a man as yourself, both in the disciplines of war and in the derivation of my birth and in other particularities. Irish, I do not know you so good a man as myself, so Crish saw me I will cut off your head. Gower, gentlemen both you will mistake each other. Scott, that's a foul fault. A parley. Gower, the town sounds a parley. Welch, Captain Macmorris, when there is more better opportunity to be required, look you, I will be so bold as to tell you I know the disciplines of war, and there is an end. Enter. Enter the king and all his train before the gates. King, how yet resolutes the governor of the town? This is the latest parle we will admit. Therefore to our best mercy gee yourselves. Or like to men proud of destruction, defy verses to our worst, for as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best. If I begin the battery once again, I will not loe the half-atchewed Harflew, till in her ashes she lie buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut vp. In the fleshed soldier, rough and hard of heart, in liberty of bloody hand shall raunch, with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass, your fresh fair virgins and your flowing infants. What is it then to me if impious war, arrayed in flames like to the prince of fiends, doe with his smiact complexion all fell feats, and linked to wast and desolation? What is to me when you yourselves are cause, if your pure maidens fall into the hand of heart enforcing violation? What reign can hold licentious wickedness, when down the hill he holds his fierce carriere? We may as bootless spend our vain command, vipon th, enraged soldiers in their spoil, as send precepts to the Leviathan to come ashore. Therefore, you men of Harflew, take pity of your town and of your people, whiles yet my soldiers are in my command, whiles yet the cool and temperate wind of grace blows the filthy and contagious clouds of heady murder, spoil and villainy. If not, why in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier with foul hand desire the locks of your shrill shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the Silua beards, and their most ruined heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted vipon pikes, whiles the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds, as did the weus of Uri at Herod's bloody hunting slaughtermen. What say you, will you yield in this ord, or guilty in defence be thus destroyed? Enter Gowerner. Gower, our expectation hath this day an end. The dolphin, whom of succours we entreated, returns viz. That his powers are yet not ready to race so great a siege. Therefore, great king, we yield our town and leus to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of viz. And ours, for we no longer are defensible. King, open your gates, come vn secly Exeter. Go you and enter Harflew, there remain, and fortify it strongly gainst the French. Vsc mercy to them all for viz. Dear vn secly. The winter coming on and sickness growing, vipon our soldiers we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Harflew will we be your guest. Tomorrow for the march are we addressed. Flourish and enter the town. Enter Catherine and an old gentlewoman. Caith Alice tuas est en Angleterre, and tu bien parles la language. Alice en pu madame. Cath it prima insignes, il faut que I apprendre parlen. Camient appel vous le main en anglois. Alice le main il and appel de hand. Cath de hand. Alice le Deutz. Cat le Deutz ma foi I aubli I Deut mais I mi sauimere. Le Deutz I pence quills antapel de fingers, o de fingers. Alice le main de hand le Deutz le fingers, I pence querai. Sways le ban echelier. Cath gani deux mos d anglois visment comment. Appel vous le angles. Alice le angles les appellens de nails. Cath de nails escout, dits moi si I parle bien de. Hand de fingers e de nails. Alice 100 est bien dict madame, il and fort ban anglois. Cath dits moi el anglois pour le bras. Alice de arm madame. Cath e de cowdy. Alice 500 elbow. Cath 500 elbow. I men fait la repetitio de touts les mots que vous m'aves, a prince des a present. Alice il and trop difficile madame, comme I pense. Cath, excuse moi Alice escout d hand de finger de. Nails d armor de bilbo. Alice 500 elbow madame. Cath, o seigneur de I men aubli d elbow, comment appel vous local. Alice de nick madame. Cath de nick e lamenton. Alice de chin. Cath de sin, local de nick lamenton de sin. Alice owie, sof voster honor en verite vous pronounces. Les mots aussi droict, quella natives d Angleterre. Cath I ni doubt point d, apprendre par de grace de Dieu. And en pu de temps. Alice en, or vos y désir aubli si querai vous ensigni. Cath, nom I reciter a vous promptment d hand de. Finger de mailes. Alice de nails madame. Cath de nails de arm de ilbo. Alice sans voster honius d elb. Cath ainsi de I d elbow de nick and de sin, comment appel vous les pied and de robe. Alice le foot madame en le count. Cath le foot and le count. O seigneur dia ils sont le mos de son mauvais corruptible gross and impudique, and non pour le dames de honneur diviseur. I ni vaudre prononcer si mos dunt le seigneurs de France, pour tout le monde, faux le foot and le count neat mois. I reciter bien autrefois ma lecken in semb, d hand, de finger, de nails, d arm, d elbow, de nick, de sin, de foot, le count. Alice excellent madame. Cath 100 est asses pour vieni fois, alans nous a diner. Enter. Enter the King of France, the Dolphin, the Constable of France and others. King, 'tis certain he hath passed the Rio some. Canst, and if he be not fought withal, my lord. Let vese not liu in France, let vese quit all. And giu our vineyards to a barbarous people. Dolph odia viuant, shall a few sprays of vese. The emptying of our father's luxury. Our seans put in wilder and soige stock. Spurt VP so suddenly into the clouds. And our look their grafters. Brit Normans but bastard Normans Norman bastards. Mort du marvaille if they march along. Vn fought withal, but I will sell my dukedome. To buy a slabbery and a dirty farm. In that nook shot an Isle of Albion. Canst, de battles where whore they this metal? Is not their climate foggy, raw and dull? On whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale. Killing their fruit with frowns, can sodden water. A drench for surrained iades, their barley broth. Decoct their cold blood to such valiant heat. And shall our quick blood, spirited with wine, seem frosty, oh, for honour of our land? Let these not hang like roping issacles. Vipon our houses thatch, whiles a more frosty people. Sweat drops of gallant youth in our rich fields. Poor we call them in their natiu lords. Dolphin, by faith and honour. Our madams mock at these and plainly say, our metal is bred out, and they will gee you their bodies to the lust of English youth, to new store France with bastard warriors. Brit, they bid versus to the English dancing schools, and teach laulters high and swift carantos, saying our grace is onely in our heels, and that we are most lofty runaways. King, where is Montioy the herald? Speed him hence. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. VP princes, and with spirit of honour edged, more sharper than your swords, hie to the field. Charles de Labreth, High Constable of France. You Dukes of Orleans, Bourbon, and of Berry, Alanson, Brabant, Bar, and Burgundy, Aix Chatillon, Rambures, Vandemont, Beaumont, Grand Prix, Rousey, and Falconbridge, Loys, Lestrel, Bouciquol, and Charolois, High Dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and kings. For your great seats now quit you of great shames. Bar hairy England that sweeps through our land, with pennons painted in the blood of Harflew, rush on his host, as doth the melted snow. Vipon the valleys whose low vassal seat the Alps doth spit, and void his room Vipon. Go down Vipon him, you whore enough, and in a captive you chariot into row. Bring him our prisoner. Canst this becomes the great. Sorry am I his numbers are so few, his soldiers sick and famished in their march. For I am sure when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for attument offer versus his ransom. King, therefore Lord Constable, hast on Montioy, and let him say to England that we send, to know what willing ransom he will gee you. Prince Dolphin, you shall stay with these in Rhone. Dolph, not so I do beseech your majesty. King, be patient, for you shall remain with Versus. Now forth Lord Constable, and princes all, and quickly bring these word of England's fall. Exeunt. Enter captains, English and Welch, Gower and Fluellen. Gower, how now Captain Fluellen come you from? The bridge. Flew, I assure you there is very excellent services committed. At the bridge. Gower, is the Duke of Exeter safe? Flew, the Duke of Exeter is as magnanimous as Agamemnon, and a man that I low and honour with my soul, and my heart, and my duty, and my liu, and my liuing, and my VT termost power. He is not, God be praised and blessed, any hurt in the world, but keeps the bridge most valiantly, with excellent discipline. There is an ancient lieutenant there at the bridge. I think in my very conscience he is as valiant a man as Mark Anthony, and he is a man of no estimation in the world, but I did see him do as gallant Cerois. Gower, what do you call him? Flew, he is called Ancient Pistol. Gower, I know him not. Enter Pistol. Flew, here is the man. Pist, Captain, I thee beseech to do me fors, the Duke of Exeter doth low thee well. Flew, I praise God, and I whole merited some low at his hands. Pist Bardolph, a soldier firm and sound of heart and of buxom valour, hath by cruel fate, and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind, that stands vipon the rolling restless stone. Flew, by your patience, ancient Pistol, fortune is painted blind with a muffler afore his eyes to signify to you that fortune is blind, and she is painted also with a wheel, to signify to you which is the moral of it, that she is turning and inconstant and mutability and variation, and her foot, look you, is fixed vipon a spherical stone, which rolls and rolls and rolls. In good truth, the poet makes a most excellent description of it. Fortune is an excellent moral. Pist Fortune is Bardolph's foe and frowns on him, for he hath stolne a pax and hanged must to be, a damned death. Let gallows gape for dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipe suffocate. But Exeter hath genuine the doom of death for pax of little price. Therefore go speak, the Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cord and vile reproach. Speak, Captain, for his life, and I will thee requite. Flew, ancient Pistol, I do partly thee understand your meaning. Pist, why then re-ice therefore? Flew, certainly ancient it is not a thing to re-ice at, for if, look you, he were my brother, I would desire the Duke to vsc his good pleasure, and put him to execution, for discipline ought to be said. Pist, die and be damned, and Figo for thy friendship. Flew, it is well. Pist, the fig of Spain. Enter. Flew, very good. Gower, why this is an errant counterfeit rascal, I remember him now, aboard a cutpurse. Flew, I'll assure you a VTT read as praw words at the pridge, as you shall see in a summer's day, but it is very well, what he has spoke to me, that is well I warrant you when time is sorrow. Gower, why 'tis a gull, a fool, a rogue, that now and then goes to the wars to grace himself at his return into London, viender the form of a soldier, and such fellows are perfect in the great commanders' names, and they will learn you by rote where services were done, at such and such a sconce, at such a breach, at such a canoy, who came off brawly, who was shot, who discracked what terms the enemy stood on, and this they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick VP with new-tuned oaths, and what a beard of the general's cut, and a horrid suit of the camp, will do among foaming bottles and ale-washed wits, is wonderful to be thought on. But you must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else you may be marvellously mistook. Flew, I tell you what, Captain Gower, I do perceive he is not the man that he would gladly make show to the world he is. If I find a hole in his coat I will tell him my mind. Hark you, the king is calming, and I must speak with him from the pridge. Drum and colours, enter the king and his poor soldiers. Flew, God bless your majesty. King, how now Flewlin cam'st thou from the bridge? Flew, I so please your majesty. The Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the pridge. The French is gone off, look you, and there is gallant and most poor passages. Mary th adversary was whole possession of the pridge, but he is enforced to retire, and the Duke of Exeter is master of the pridge. I can tell your majesty, the Duke is a poor man. King, what men ha you lost, Flewlin? Flew, the perdition of th adversary hath been very great, reasonable great. Mary, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost newer a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church, one Bardolph, if your majesty know the man. His face is all buckles and whelks and knobs and flames of fire, and his lips blows at his nose, and it is like a coal of fire, sometimes blue and sometimes red, but his nose is executed, and his fire's out. King, we would haw all such offenders so cut off, and we gie you express charge that in our marches through the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, none of the French VP braided or abused in disdainful language, for when luity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner. Tucket, enter Mountioy. Mountioy, you know me by my habit. King, well then I know thee, what shall I know? Thee. Mountioy, my master's mind. King, vien fold it. Mountioy, thus says my king, say thou to Harry of England, though we seemed dead, we did but sleep. A duentage is a better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could haw rebucked him at Harflew, but that we thought not good to bruise an inuri till it were full ripe. Now we speak vipon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider of his ransom, which must proportion the losses we haw borne, the subjects we haw lost, the disgrace we haw digested, which in wait to re-answer his pettiness would bow viender. For our losses his exchequer is too poor, for th effusion of our blood the muster of his kingdom too faint a number, and for our disgrace his own person kneeling at our feet but a weak and worthless satisfaction. To this add defiance, and tell him for conclusion he hath betrayed his followers whose condemnation is pronounced. So far my king and master, so much my office. King, what is thy name? I know thy quality. Mountioy. King, thou dost thy office fairly, turn thee baccy. And tell thy king, I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais, without impeachment, for to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much, viento an enemy of craft and vantage. My people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I haw, almost no better than so many French, who when they were in health I tell thee herald, I thought vipon one pair of English legges, did march 3 Frenchmen, yet forge you me guard. That I do brag thus, this your heir of France hath blown that vice in me, I must repent. Go therefore tell thy master, here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk. My army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet guard before, tell him we will come on. Though France himself and such another neighbour stand in our way, there's for thy labour Mountioy. Go bid thy master well adieu is himself. If we may pass we will, if we be hindered, we shall your tawny ground with your red blood discolour, and so Mountioy fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this: we would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are we say we will not shun it. So tell your master. Mount, I shall deliver so, thanks to your highness. Glauc, I hope they will not come vipon vis now. King, we are in God's hand, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge, it now draws toward night. Beyond the Riua we'll encamp our cellars. And on tomorrow bid them march away. Exeunt. Enter the Constable of France, the Lord Rambers, Orleans, Dolphin with others. Const, tut, I haw the best armour of the world. Would it were day. Orleans, you haw an excellent armour, but let my horse haw his due. Const, it is the best horse of Europe. Orleans, will it newer be morning? Dolph, my lord of Orleans and my lord high constable. You talk of horse and armour. Orleans, you are as well provided of both as any prince in the world. Dolph, what a long night is this! I will not change my horse with any that treads but on 4 pastures. Ch ha, he bounds from the earth as if his entrails were hares. Le tuile volante the Pegasus ches les narines de few. When I bestride him I soar, I am a hawk. He trots the air, the earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes. Orleans, he's of the colour of the nutmeg. Dolph, and of the heat of the ginger. It is a beast for Perseus, he is pure air and fire, and the dull elements of earth and water newer appear in him, but only in patient stillness while his rider mounts him. He is indeed a horse, and all other ides you may call beasts. Const, indeed my lord, it is a most absolute and excellent horse. Dolph, it is the Prince of Palfrays, his neigh is like the bidding of a monarch, and his countenance enforces homage. Orleans, no more cousin. Dolph, nay, the man hath no wit that cannot from the rising of the lark to the lodging of the lamb, very deserved praise on my palfrey. It is a theme as fluent as the sea, turn the sands into eloquent tongues, and my horse is argument for them all. Tease, subject for a sour rainy to reason on, and for a sour rainy's sour rainy to ride on. And for the world familiar to V's and Vn known, to lay apart their particular functions, and wonder at him. I once writ a sonnet in his praise, and began thus, wonder of nature. Orleans, I haw heard a sonnet begin so to one's mistress. Dolph, then did they imitate that which I composed to my courser, for my horse is my mistress. Orleans, your mistress bears well. Dolph, me well, which is the prescript praise and perfection of a good and particular mistress. Const, nay, for me thought yesterday your mistress shrewdly shook your back. Dolph, so perhaps did yours. Const, mine was not bridled. Dolph, oh then belike she was old and gentle, and you rode like a kern of Ireland your French hose off, and in your straight strossers. Const, you haw good judgment in horsemanship. Dolph, be warned by me then, they that ride so and ride not warily fall into foul bogs. I had rather haw my horse to my mistress. Const, I had as lieu haw my mistress a aid. Dolph, I tell thee constable my mistress wears his own hairs. Const, I could make as true a boast as that if I had a sow to my mistress. Dolph, lacine est return a son proper vemisment est. La loy loy o burbia, thou maxed VSC of anything. Const, yet do I not VSC my horse for my mistress. Or any such proverb, so little kin to the purpose. Ram, my lord constable, the armour that I saw in your tent tonight, are those stars or suns upon it? Const, stars, my lord. Dolph, some of them will fall tomorrow, I hope. Const, and yet my sky shall not want. Dolph, that may be, for you bear a many superfluously. And twere more honour some were away. Const, e'en as your horse bears your praises, who would trot as well, were some of your bragges dismounted. Dolph, would I were able to load him with his desert. Will it newer be day? I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way shall be pawed with English faces. Const, I will not say so, for fear I should be fact out of my way, but I would it were morning, for I would fain be about the ears of the English. Ram, who will go to hazard with me for 20 prisoners? Const, you must first go yourself to hazard ere you haw them. Dolph, 'tis midnight, I'll go arm myself. Enter. Orleans, the dolphin longs for morning. Ram, he longs to eat the English. Const, I think he will eat all he kills. Orleans, by the white hand of my lady, he's a gallant prince. Const, swear by her foot that she may tread out the oath. Orleans, he is simply the most actu gentleman of France. Const, doing is actuity, and he will still be doing. Orleans, he newer did harm that I heard of. Const, nor will do none tomorrow, he will keep that good name still. Orleans, I know him to be valiant. Const, I was told that by one that knows him better than you. Orleans, what's he? Const, marry, he told me so himself, and he said he cared not who knew it. Orleans, he needs not, it is no hidden virtue in him. Const, by my faith, sir, but it is, newer any body saw it but his lacquey, 'tis a hooded valour, and when it appears it will bait. Orleans, ill will newer said well. Const, I will cap that proverb with, there is flattery in friendship. Orleans, and I will take VP that with Gu the duel. His due. Const, well placked, there stands your friend for the duel, whore at the very eye of that proverb with a parks of the duel. Orleans, you are the better at proverbs by how much? A fool's bolt is soon shot. Const, you horse shot our. Orleans, 'tis not the first time you were our shot. Enter a messenger. Mess, my lord high constable, the English lie with 1,500 paces of your tents. Const, who hath measured the ground? Mess, the Lord Grand Prix. Const, a valiant and most expert gentleman. Would it were day. Alas, poor Harry of England, he longs not for the dawning as we do. Orleans, what a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England, to mope with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge. Const, if the English had any apprehension, they would run away. Orleans, that they lack, for if their heads had any intellectual armour, they could newer wear such hoey head-pieces. Ram, that island of England breeds very valiant creatures, their mastiffs are of VN matchable courage. Orleans, foolish curs that run winking into the mouth of a Russian bear, and haw their heads crushed like rotten apples. You may as well say that's a valiant flea, that dare eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion. Const, erst, and the men do sympathize with the mastiffs in robustious and rough calming on, lowing their wits with their weeus, and then gew them great meals of beef and iron and steel. They will eat like wallows and fight like duels. Orleans, aye, but these English are shroudly out of beef. Const, then shall we find tomorrow they haw only stomachus to eat and none to fight. Now is it time to arm, come shall we about it. Orleans, it is now 2 o'clock, but let me see, by 10 we shall haw each 100 English men. Exeunt. Actus tertius. Chorus. Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the Venus. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive you, the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames, each battle sees the other's bird face. Steed threatens steed, in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ear, and from the tents, the armourers accomplishing the knights, with busy hammers closing Riot's Gu dreadful note of preparation. The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third howray of drowsy morning named, proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and hour-lusty French, do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the creeple tardy-gated knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away, the poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger, and their gesture sad, in usting lang-clean cheeks and war-worn coats, presented them vnto the gazing moon. So many horrid ghosts, oh now who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent. Let him cry praise and glory on his head, for forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Vipon his royal face there is no note, how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor doth he dedicate one eat of colour, vnto the wary and all-watched night, but freshly looks and hour bears a taint, with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that weary wretch pining and pale before, beholding him plucks comfort from his looks, a largesse veneusal like the sun, his liberal eye doth giu to weary one, thoing cold fear, that mean and gentle all, behold as may vn worthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night, and so our scene must to the battle fly, where oh for pity we shall much disgrace, with four or few most vile and ragged foils, right ill disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt, yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be. Enter the King, Bedford and Gloucester. King, Gloucester, 'tis true that we are in great danger. The greater therefore should our courage be. God more, O brother Bedford, God Almighty. There is some soul of goodness in things you will. Would men observingly distill it out? For our bad neighbour makes versus early stirrers, which is both healthful and good husbandry. Besides, they are our outward consciences, and preachers to these all, admonishing that we should dress versus fairly for our end. Thus may we gather honey from the weed, and make a moral of the deal himself. Enter Erpingham. Good morrow, old Sir Thomas Erpingham. A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a churlish turf of France. Erping, not so my liege, this lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king. King, 'tis good for men to allow their present pains. Vipon example, so the spirit is eased, and when the mind is quickened out of doubt, the organs, though defunct and dead before, break VP their drowsy graw and newly moo, with casted slew and fresh legerity. Lend me thy cloak, Sir Thomas, brothers both. Commend me to the princes in our camp. Do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them all to my poilion. Gloucester, we shall, my liege. Erping, shall I attend your grace? King, no, my good knight. Go with my brothers to my lords of England. I in my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company. Erping, the Lord in Hohen bless thee, noble. Harry. Exeunt. King, God a mercy, old heart, thou speak'st cheerfully. Enter Pistol. Pist chivus la. King a friend. Pist discuss vnto me, art thou officer or art thou base, common and popular? King, I am a gentleman of a company. Pist, trailst thou the puissant pike? King, you and so, what are you? Pist, as good a gentleman as the emperor. King, then you are a better than the king. Pist, the king's a bokak and a heart of gold. Lad of life and impair fame of parents good of fist. Most valiant, I kiss his dirty shoe and from heartstring. I low the lowly bully, what is thy name? King Harry Leroy. Pist, Leroy, a Cornish name, art thou of Cornish crew? King, no, I am a Welchman. Pist, know'st thou Florlan? King, yes. Pist, tell him I'll knock his leek about his pate vipon. S. Doy's day. King, do not you wear your dagger in your cap? That day least he knock that about yours. Pist, art thou his friend? King, and his kinsman too. Pist, the fee go for thee then. King, I thank you, God be with you. Pist, my name is Pistol called. Enter. King, it sorts well with your fierceness. Man it, King. Enter Flulin and Gower. Gower, Captain Flulins. Fludes, so in the name of Isu Christ speak fewer. It is the greatest admiration in the Veneusol world, when the true and ancient prerogatives and laws of the wars is not kept. If you would take the pains but to examine the wars of Pompey the Great, you shall find, I warrant you, that there is no tiddle-taddle nor pibble-babble in Pompey's camp. I warrant you, you shall find the ceremonies of the wars, and the cares of it, and the forms of it, and the sobriety of it, and the modesty of it to be otherwise. Gower, why the enemy is loath, you hear him all. Knight. Flew, if the enemy is an assayer and a fool and a prating coxcomb, is it meet, think you, that we should also look you be an assayer and a fool and a prating coxcomb in your own conscience now? Gow, I will speak lower. Flew, I pray you and beseech you that you will. Enter. King, though it appear a little out of fashion, there is much care and valour in this Welchman. Enter 3 soldiers, Ione Bates, Alexander Court and Michael. Williams. Court, brother Ione Bates, is not that the morning which breaks yonder? Bates, I think it be, but we ha no great cause to desire the approach of day. Williams, we see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we shall newer see the end of it. Who goes there? King, a friend. Williams, viender, what captain serre you? King, viender Sir Ione Erpingham. Williams, a good old commander and a most kind gentleman, I pray you, what thinks he of our estate? King, you and his men racked vipon a sand that look to be washed off the next tide. Bates, he hath not told his thought to the king. King, no, nor it is not meet he should. For though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. The violet smells to him as it doth to me. The element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses haw but humane conditions. His ceremonies laid by, in his nakedness he appears but a man. And though his affections are higher mounted than ours, yet when they stoop with the like wing. Therefore when he sees reason of fears as we do, his fears out of doubt be of the same relish as ours are. Yet in reason no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, lest he by showing it should dishearten his army. Bates, he may show what outward courage he will, but I believe you as cold a knight as Tees, he could wish himself in Thames VP to the neck, and so I would he were, and I by him at all adventures, so we were quit here. King, by my troth I will speak my conscience of the king, I think he would not wish himself anywhere, but where he is. Bates, then I would he were here alone, so should he be sure to be ransomed, and a many poor men's lieu sawed. King, I dare say you allow him not so ill to wish him here alone. Howsoever you speak this to feel other men's minds, Methinks I could not die anywhere so contented, as in the king's company, his cause being erst and his quarrel honourable. Williams, that's more than we know. Bates, aye, or more than we should seek after, for we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of these. Williams, but if the cause be not good, the king himself hath a holy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in a battle shall iron together at the latter day, and cry all we died at such a place, some swearing, some crying for a surgeon, some vipon their weus left poor behind them, some vipon the debts they owe, some vipon their children rawly left. I am afeard there are few die well that die in a battle, for how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it, who to disobey were against all proportion of subjection. King, so if a son that is by his father sent about merchandise, do sinfully miscarry vipon the sea, the imputation of his wickedness by your rule should be imposed vipon his father that sent him, or if a servant viender his master's command, transporting a sum of money, be assailed by robbers and die in many irreconciled iniquities, you may call the business of the master the author of the servant's damnation. But this is not so. The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers, the father of his son, nor the master of his servant, for they purpose not their death when they purpose their services. Besides, there is no king, be his cause newer so spotless, if it come to the arbitrament of swords, can try it out with all spotted soldiers. Some, peradventure, whore on them the guilt of premeditated and contraried murder, some, of beguiling virgins with the broken seals of periuri, some making the wars their bulwark that whore before gored the gentle bosom of peace with pillage and robbery. Now if these men whore defeated the law and outrun natu punishment, though they can outstrip men, they whore no wings to fly from God. War is his beadle, war is his vengeance, so that here men are punished, for before breach of the king's laws in now the king's quarrel, where they feared the death they whore borne life away, and where they would be safe they perish. Then if they die proided, no more is the king guilty of their damnation, then he was before guilty of those impieties, for the which they are now visited. Uri subac's duty is the king's, but Uri subac's soul is his own. Therefore should Uri soldier in the wars do as Uri sick man in his bed, wash Uri moth out of his conscience, and dying so death is to him a duentage, or not dying the time was blessedly lost, wherein such preparation was gained, and in him that escapes it were not sin to think that making God so free an offer, he let him outlive that day to see his greatness, and to teach others how they should prepare. Will, 'tis certain Uri man that dies ill the ill vipon. His own head the king is not to answer it. Bates, I do not desire he should answer for me, and yet I determined to fight lustily for him. King, I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed. Will, I he said so to make versus fight cheerfully, but when our throats are cut he may be ransomed and we near the wiser. King, if I leave you to see it, I will newer trust his word after. Will, you pay him then, that's a perilous shot out of an elder gun that a poor and a prewate displeasure can do against a monarch. You may as well go about to turn the sun to is with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. You le newer trust his word after. Come, 'tis a foolish saying. King, your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with you if the time were convenient. Will, let it be a quarrel between these if you Leo. King, I embrace it. Will, how shall I know the again? King, do me any gage of thine and I will wear it. In my bonnet, then if you or thou darst acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrels. Will, here's my glow, do me another of thine. King, there. Will, this will I also wear in my cap. If you or thou come to me, and say after tomorrow this is my glow, by this hand I will take thee a box on the ear. King, if you or I leave you to see it, I will challenge it. Will, thou darst as well be hanged. King, well I will do it though I take thee in the king's company. Will, keep thy word, fare thee well. Bates, be friends you English fools, be friends. We haw French quarrels eno if you could tell how to reckon. Exit soldiers. King, indeed the French may lay 20 French crowns to one, they will beat these for they bear them. on their shoulders, but it is no English treason to cut French crowns, and tomorrow the king himself will be a clipper. Vipon the king, let versus our lius our souls. Our debts our careful we use. Our children and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all. O hard condition, twin-born with greatness. Subject to the breath of Uri fool whose sense no more can feel but his own ringing. What infinite heartsease must kings neglect, that preuate men enioi? And what whole kings that preuates whole not too? So ceremony, so general ceremony. And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? What kind of God art thou, that suffers thee more of mortal griefs than do thy worshippers? What are thy rents, what are thy calmings in? O ceremony, show me but thy worth. What is thy soul of odoration? Art thou aught else but place, degree and form, creating awe and fear in other men, wherein thou art less happy being feared than they in fearing? What drink'st thou oft, instead of homage sweet, but poisoned flattery? O be sick great greatness, and bid thy ceremony giu the cure. Think'st thou the fiery fewer will go out with titles blown from adulation? Will it giu place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou command'st the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream, that plays so subtly with a king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the balmy, the sceptre and the bowl, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the entertissued robe of gold and pearl, the fast title running for the king, the throne he sits on, nor the tide of pomp that beats Vipon the high shore of this world. No, not all these thrice gorgeous ceremony, not all these laid in bed majestical, can sleep so soundly as the wretched slaw, who with a body filled and vacant mind gets him to rest, crammed with distressful bread. Newer sees horrid night, the child of hell, but like a lacquey from the rise to set, sweats in the eye of Phoebus, and all night sleeps in Elysium. Next day after dawn doth rise and help Hyperio to his horse, and follows so the ewer running year with profitable labour to his graw. And but for ceremony such a wretch, winding VP days with toil and nights with sleep, had the forehand and vantage of a king, the slaw a member of the country's peace, enjoys it but in gross brain little wots what watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose howers the peasant best advantages. Enter Erpingham. My lord, your nobles earless of your absence seek through your camp to find you. King, good old knight, collect them all together. At my tent I'll be before thee. I shall do't, my lord. Enter. King, O God of battles, steel my soldiers' hearts. Possess them not with fear, take from them now the sense of reckoning of opposed numbers. Pluck their hearts from them, not today, O Lord. O not today, think not Vipon the fault my father made in compassing the crown. I Richard's body hor interred new, and on it hor bestowed more contrite tears. Then from it issued forced drops of blood. Few hundred poor I hor in yearly pay, who twice a day their withered hands hold VP toward Hohen to pardon blood. And I hor built 2 chauntries, where the sad and solemnly priests sing still. For Richard's soul, more will I do, though all that I can do is nothing worth, since that my penitence comes after all, imploring pardons. Enter Gloucester. Glauc my liege. King, my brother Gloucester's voice, I know thy errand, I will go with thee. The day, my friend, and all things stay for me.
Exeunt.
Enter the Dolphin, Orleans, Ramburs, and Beaumont. Orleans, the sun doth gild our armour, VP my
Lords.
Dolph Montecheul, my horse Verlot lackey.
Host.
Orleans, O brass spirit. Dolph via les use and tear. Orleans, rien puis la air and few. Dolph seen cousin Orleans.
Enter Constable.
Now my lord Constable, Const, hark how our steeds for present Ceruis neigh. Dolph, mount them and make incision in their hides, that their hot blood may spin in English eyes. Endout them with superfluous courage, ha! Ram, what will you haw them weep our horses' blood? How shall we then behold their natural tears?
Enter Messenger.
Messeng, the English are embattled, you French.
Peers.
Const, to horse you gallant princes, straight to horse. Do but behold yond poor and starried band, and your fair show shall suck away their souls, lowing them but the shales and husks of men. There is not work enough for all our hands, scarce blood enough in all their sickly veins, to dew each naked curtlick sustain, that our French gallants shall today draw out, and sheath for lack of sport, let these but blow on them. The vapour of our valour will return them. 'Tis posity you against all exceptions, lords, that our superfluous laquis and our peasants, who in Vienne necessary actions swarm, about our squares of battle were eno, to purge this field of such a hilding foe, though we vipon this mountain's basis by, took stand for idle speculation, but that our honours must not, what's to say, a very little let versus do, and all is done, then let the trumpet sound, the tucket sonuance and the note to mount, for our approach shall so much dare the field, that England shall couch down in fear and yield.
Enter Grand Prix.
Grand Prix, why do you stay so long, my lords of France? Yond illand carrions, desperate of their bones. Chapter 99, forwardly become the morning field. Their ragged curtains poorly are let loose, and our air shakes them passing scornfully. Big Mars seems bankrupt in their beggared host, and faintly through a rusty buer peeps. The horsemen sit like fixed candlesticks, with torch stores in their hand, and their poor eyelids lob down their heads, dropping the hides and hips, the gum down roping from their pale dead eyes, and in their pale dull mouths the ear-mould bit lies foul with chawed grass, still and motionless, and their executors, the noish crows, fly awry them all, impatient for their haray. Description cannot suit itself in words, to demonstrate the life of such a battle, in life so leerless as it shows itself. Const, they horsed their prayers, and they stay for death. Dolph, shall we go send them dinners and fresh suits, and gew their fasting horses prounder, and after fight with them? Const, I stay but for my guard, on to the field I will the banner from a trumpet take, and via see it for my haste, come away. The sun is high, and we outwear the day.
Exeunt.
Enter Gloucester, Bedford, Exeter, Erpingham with all his host, Salisbury and Westmoreland. Glauc, where is the king? Bedf, the king himself is rode to view their battle. West, of fighting men they haw full 70,000. Exe, there's few to one, besides they all are fresh. Salisp, God's arm strike with these, 'tis a fearful odds. God by you princes all, I'll to my charge. If we no more meet, till we meet in Hohen, then eyefully, my noble lord of Bedford, my dear Lord Gloucester, and my good Lord Exeter, and my kind kinsmen, warriors all, adieu. Bedf, farewell good Salisbury, and good luck go with thee. and yet I do thee wrong to mind thee of it. For thou art framed of the firm truth of valour. Farewell, kind lord, fight valiantly today. Bedf, he is as full of valour as of kindness. Princely in both. Enter the king. West, oh that we now had here but 10,000 of those men in England that do no work today. King, what's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland, no, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are eno to do our country loss, and if to lieu, the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Io, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed thee upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alieu. No, faith, my coos, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honour, as one man more methinks would share from me. For the best hope I haw, oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart, his passport shall be made, and crowns for connoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company, that fears his fellowship, to die with Versus. This day is called the feast of Crispin. He that outlives this day, and comes safe home, will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rose him at the name of Crispin. He that shall see this day, and lieu old age, will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours, and say, tomorrow is Saint Crispin. Then will he strip his sleeve, and show his scars. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day, then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world. But we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. This day shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap whiles any speaks that fought with vis vipon Saint Crispin's day. Enter Salisbury. Sal, my sour reign lord, bestow yourself with speed. The French are brawly in their battle set, and will with all expedients charge on Versus. King, all things are ready if our minds be so. West, perish the man whose mind is backward now. King, thou dost not wish more help from England. Coos. West, God's will, my liege, would you and I alone, without more help, could fight this royal battle. King, why now thou hast wished few thousand men, which likes me better than to wish Versus one. You know your places, God be with you all. Tucket, enter Montioy. Mont, once more I come to know of thee, King Harry. If for thy ransom thou wilt now compound, before thy most assured overthrow, for certainly thou art so near the gulf, thou needs must be inglutted, besides in mercy. The constable desires thee, thou wilt mind thy followers of repentance, that their souls may make a peaceful and a sweet retire from off these fields, where wretches their poor bodies must lie and fester. King, who hath sent thee now? Mont, the constable of France. King, I pray thee bear my former answer back. Bid them attue me, and then sell my bones. Good God, why should they mock poor fellows thus? The man that once did sell the Leonsk, while the beast Leud was killed with hunting him. A many of our bodies shall no doubt find Natiu Gros, Vipon the which I trust, shall witness Liu in brass of this day's work, and those that low their valiant bones in France, dying like men though buried in your dunghills, they shall be famed, for there the sun shall greet them, and draw their honours reeking VP to Hohen, lowing their earthly parts to choke your clime, the smell whereof shall breed a plague in France. Mark then abounding valour in our English, that being dead like to the bullets crazing, break out into a second course of mischief, killing in relapse of mortality. Let me speak proudly, tell the constable, we are but warriors for the working day. Our gayness and our guilt are all besmirched with rainy marching in the painful field. There's not a piece of feather in our host. Good argument, I hope, we will not fly, and time hath worn these into slowenry. But by the mass our hearts are in the trim, and my poor soldiers tell me, yet ere night, they'll be in fresher robes, or they will pluck the gay new coats awry the French soldiers' heads, and turn them out of Cerois, if they do this. As if God please they shall, my ransom then will soon be louied. Herald, saw thou thy labour. Come thou no more for ransom, gentle herald. They shall haw none, I swear, but these my eints, which if they haw, as I will low VM them, shall yield them little, tell the constable. Mont I shall King Harry, and so fare thee well. Thou newer shalt hear herald any more. Enter. King, I fear thou wilt once more come Agincourt. Ransom. Enter York. York, my lord, most humbly on my knee I beg. The leading of the voward. Kings take it, Bra York. Now soldiers march away, and how thou pleasest God dispose the day. Exeunt. Alarum excursions, enter pistol French soldier boy. Pist yield cur. French, I pense que vous ests le gentilhomme de bonne qualité. Pist qualtity kami customy, art thou a gentleman? What is thy name, discuss. French, o seigneur Dieu. Pist, o signior du should be a gentleman, perpend my words o signior du and mark, o signior du thou diced on point of fox, except o signior thou do giu to me egregious ransom. French, o prens misericordi I pites de moi. Pist moi shall not seru I will haw 40 mois, for I will fetch thy rim out at thy throat, in drops of crimson blood. French, est il impossible d, échapper la force de ton bras. Pist brass cur, thou damned and luxurious mountain. Goat offers to me brass. French, o pardon moi. Pist says to thou me so, is that a ton of mois? Come hither boy, ask me this law in French what is his name. Boy, escout comment est vous appelle. French, Monsieur Lefeur. Boy, he says his name is Emfer. Pist, Emfer, I'll fur him and ferret him. Discuss the same in French, VNTO him. Boy, I do not know the French for fur and ferret and furk. Pist, bid him prepare, for I will cut his throat. French, que dit il Monsieur? Boy, il me command a vous dire que vous faites vous. Prest, car si soldat ici est disposi, tout ustre redecoups voster. Gorge. Pist, oui couple gorge permafoy peasant, vien lest thou giu me crowns, bra crowns, or mangled shalt thou be by this my sword. French, I vous supply pour el amour de Dieu. Ma partner I sways le gentilhomme de bon mason, garde ma vie, and I vous donnerai du cent escus. Pist, what are his words? Boy, he prays you to saw his life, he is a gentleman. of a good house, and for his ransom he will jew you 200 crowns. Pissed, tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take. Friend, petit monsieur que dit il. Boy, encore quil et contre son irrement, de pardonner aucune. Prisoner, nientmans pour les excuses que vous later promets. Il est content à vous dans la liberté le franchisement. Free, sermis genus si vous dans mils remercius et. I me estim hurex quer I in tom, entre les mains di vien tulia. I pense le plus bro valiant et tres distime signia. D. Angleterra. Pist, expound vento me boy. Boy, he jews you upon his knees 1,000 thanks, and he esteems himself happy, that he hath found me into the hands of one, as he thinks, the most braw, valorous, and thrice worthy Signor of England. Pist, as I suck blood I will some mercy show, follow me. Boys, saw you vous le grand capitaine, I did never know so full a voice issue from so empty a heart. But the saying is true, the empty vessel makes the greatest sound. Bardolph and Nym had 10 times more valour than this roaring deal I'th oldie play, that Uri one may pare his nails with a wooden dagger and they are both hanged, and so would this be if he durst steal anything adventurously. I must stay with the lackeys with the luggage of our camp. The French might whore a good prey of these if he knew of it, for there is none to guard it but boys. Enter. Enter Constable, Orleans, Bourbon, Dolphin, and Rambures. Con, o diables. Orl, o signorlia et perdia, tout et perdi. Dull, mordia mavai, all is confounded all. Reproach and everlasting shame sits marking in our plumes. A short alarum. O méchante fortune, do not run away. Con, why all our ranks are broke. Dull, o perdurable shame, let's stab ourselves. Be these the wretches that we plaid at dice for? Or is this the king we sent to for his ransom? Shame and eternal shame, nothing but shame. Let these die in once more Battle of Agincourt. And he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go hence and with his cap in hand, like a base pander hold the chamber door, whilst a base slaw, no gentler than my dog, his fairest daughter is contaminated. Con, disorder that hath spoiled V's friend versus now. Let V's on heaps go offer VP our lius. All we are eno yet liuing in the field, to smother VP the English in our throngs. If any order might be thought vipon. The deal take order now, I'll to the throng. Let life be short, else shame will be too long. Enter. Alarum, enter the king and his train with prisoners. King, well haul we done, thrice valiant countrymen. But all's not done, yet keep the French the field. Exe, the D of York commends him to your majesty. King, lius he good vehemently, thrice within this hour. I saw him down, thrice VP again and fighting. From helmet to the spur, all blood he was. Exe, in which array braw soldier doth he lie, larding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke fellow to his honour rowing wounds. The noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York all haggled hour. Comes to him, where in gore he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloodily did yawn vipon his face. He cries aloud, Tarry my cause in Suffolk. My soul shall thine keep company to Hohen. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine, then fly abreast. As in this glorious and well-foughten field, we kept together in our chivalry. Vipon these words I came, and cheered him VP. He smilled me in the face, wrought me his hand, and with a feeble gripe says, Dear my lord, commend my Ceruis to my sour Rainy. So did he turn and our Suffolk's neck. He threw his wounded arm and kissed his lips, and so espoused to death with blood he sealed. A testament of noble ending Lao. The pretty and sweet manner of it forked. those waters from me, which I would haw stopped. But I had not so much of man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes, and gaw me VP to tears. King, I blame you not. For hearing this I must perforce compound, with mixedful eyes, or they will issue to alarum. But hark, what new alarum is this same? The French haw reinforced their scattered men. Then Ury soldier kill his prisoners. Gu the word through. Exit. Actus quartus. Enter Fluelin and Gower. Flew, kill the poise and the luggage. Tease expressly against the law of arms. Tease as errant a piece of nowery, mark you now, as can be offered in your conscience now, is it not? Gow. Tease certain there's not a boy left aliu, and the cowardly rascals that ran from the battle ha done this slaughter. Besides they haw burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent, wherefore the king most worthily hath coused Ury soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. Oh, 'tis a gallant king. Flew, he was porn at Monmouth, Captain Gower. What call you the town's name where Alexander the pig was born? Gow, Alexander the Great. Flew, why I pray you is not pig great. The pig, or the great, or the mighty, or the huge, or the magnanimous are all one reckonings, so the phrase is a little variations. Gower, I think Alexander the Great was born in Macedon. His father was called Philip of Macedon, as I take it. Flew, I think it is in Macedon where Alexander is born. I tell you, Captain, if you look in the maps of the world, I warrant you soul find in the comparisons between Macedon and Monmouth, that the situations, look you, is both alike. There is a rewer in Macedon, and there is also more or a rewer at Monmouth. It is called why at Monmouth, but it is out of my brains what is the name of the other rewer. But 'tis all one, 'tis alike as my fingers is to my fingers, and there is salmons in both. If you mark Alexander's life well, Harry of Monmouth's life is come after it indifferent well, for there is figures in all things. Alexander God knows, and you know in his rages and his furies and his wraths and his chollers and his moods and his displeasures and his indignations, and also being a little intoxicates in his prains, did in his ales and his angers, look you, kill his best friend Clitus. Gow, our king is not like him in that, he never killed any of his friends. Flew, it is not well done, mark you now, to take the tales out of my mouth ere it is made and finished. I speak but in the figures and comparisons of it. As Alexander killed his friend Clitus being in his ales and his cups, so also Harry Monmouth being in his right wits and his good eargements, turned away the fat knight with the great belly doublet. He was full of easts and jips and noweries and marks, I haw forgot his name. Gow, Sir John Falstaff. Flew, that is he, I'll tell you there is good men porn at Monmouth. Gow, here comes his majesty. Alarum, enter King Harry and Bourbon with prisoners. Flourish. King, I was not angry since I came to France. Vien till this instant, take a trumpet herald. Ride thou Viento the horsemen on yond hill. If they will fight with these, bid them come down. Or void the field, they do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, we will come to them, and make them scur away, as swift as stones, enforced from the old Assyrian slings. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we haw, and not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them so. Enter Montioi. Exe, here comes the herald of the French, my liege. Glue, his eyes are humbler than they vs to be. King, how now, what means this herald? Knowst thou not that I haw find these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for ransom? Her no great king. I come to thee for charitable license, that we may wander o'er this bloody field, to book our dead and then to bury them, to sort our nobles from our common men. For many of our princes, woe the while, lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood. So do our vulgar drench their peasant limbs in blood of princes and with wounded steeds, fret fetlock deep in gore and with wilder rage, yerk out their armed heels at their dead masters, killing them twice, O Gu versus lo great king. to view the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies. Kin, I tell thee truly, herald, I know not if the day be ours or no, for yet a many of your horsemen peer and gallop o'er the field. The day is yours. Kin, praised be God and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by? They call it Agincourt. King, then call we this the field of Agincourt, fought on the day of Crispin Crispianus. Flew, your grandfather of famous memory, an't please your majesty, and your great viencly Edward the placky Prince of Wales, as I haw read in the chronicles, fought a most pro battle here in France. Kin, they did Florlan. Flew, your majesty says very true. If your majesties is remembered of it, the Welchmen did good service in a garden where leeks did grow, wearing leeks in their Monmouth caps, which your majesty know to this hour is an honourable badge of the service, and I do believe your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek vpon toys day. King, I wear it for a memorable honour, for I am Welch, you know, good countryman. Flew, all the water in Wye cannot wash your majesties. Welsh plued out of your pody, I can tell you that. God bless it and preserve it, as long as it pleases his grace and his majesty too. Kin, thanks good my countrymen. Flew, by issue I am your majesty's countryman, I care not who know it. I will confess it to all the world, I need not to be ashamed of your majesty. Praised be God so long as your majesty is an honest man. King, good keep me so. Enter Williams. Our heralds go with him. Bring me earst notice of the numbers dead. On both our parts, call yonder fellow hither. Exe, soldier, you must come to the king. Kin, soldier, why wear'st thou that glow in the cap? Will, an't please your majesty, tease the gage of one, that I should fight withal if he be Aliu. Kin, an Englishman. Will, an't please your majesty, a rascal that swaggered with me last night, who if Aliu and you dare to challenge this glow, I horsworn to take him a boxeth air, or if I can see my glow in his cap, which he swore as he was a soldier he would wear if Aliu, I will strike it out soundly. Kin, what think you, Captain Florlan, is it fit this soldier keep his oath? Flew, he is a crawn and a villain else an't please your majesty in my conscience. King, it may be, his enemy is a gentleman of great sort quite from the answer of his degree. Flew, though he be as good a gentleman as the Deul is, as Lucifer and Beelzebub himself, it is necessary, look your grace, that he keep his vow and his oath. If he be period, see you now, his reputation is as errant a villain and a iaki sauce, as you are his blacky shoe trod vpon God's ground, and his earth in my conscience law king. Then keep thy vow, sirrah, when thou meet'st the fellow. Will, so I will, my liege, as I lee you. King, who serust thou viender? Will, viender Captain Gower, my liege. Flew, Gower is a good captain and is good knowledge and literature in the wars. King, call him hither to me, soldier. Will, I will, my liege. Enter. King, here Florlan, wear thou this for me and stick it in thy cap. When Alanson and myself were down together, I plucked this glow from his helmy. If any man challenge this, he is a friend to Alanson and an enemy to our person. If thou encounter any such, apprehend him, and thou doest me low. Flew, your grace does me as great honours as can be desired in the hearts of his subjects. I would fain see the man that has but 2 legs that shall find himself aggrieved at this glow. That is all, but I would fain see it once, and please God of his grace that I might see. King, know'st thou Gower? Flew, he is my dear friend and please you. King, pray thee go seek him and bring him to my tent. Flew, I will fetch him. Enter. King, my lord of Warwick and my brother Gloucester follow Florlan closely at the heels. The glow which I hold you in him for a four may haply purchase him a boxeth ear. It is the soldiers, I by bargain should wear it myself, follow good cousin Warwick. If that the soldier strike him, as I eared. By his blunt bearing he will keep his word. Some sardine mischief may arise of it. For I do no fluelin valiant. Entucked with collar, heart is gunpowder. And quickly will return an inuri. Follow and see there be no harm between them. Go you with me, vien Seekly of Exeter.
Exeunt.
Enter Gower and Williams. Will, I warrant it is tonight you captain.
Enter Fluland.
Flew, God's will and his pleasure, captain, I beseech you now come apace to the king. There is more good toward you peradunture, than is in your knowledge to dream of. Will, sir, know you this glow? Flew, know the glow, I know the glow is a glow. Will, I know this and thus I challenge it.
Strikes him.
Flew, s blood an errant traitor as any's in the Veneosol. World or in France or in England. Gower, how now, sir, you villain? Will, do you think I'll be forsworn? Flew, stand away, Captain Gower, I will gee you treason. His payment into ploughs I warrant you. Will, I am no traitor. Flew, that's a lie in thy throat, I charge you in his Majesty's name apprehend him, he's a friend of the Duke.
Alansons.
Enter Warwick and Gloucester. Warwa, how now, what's the matter? Flew, my lord of Warwick, here is, praised be God for it, a most contagious treason come to light, look you, as you shall desire in a summer's day. Here is his Majesty. Enter King and Exeter. King, how now, what's the matter? Flew, my liege, here is a villain and a traitor. That look your grace, has struck the glow which your Majesty is take out of the helmet of a Alanson. Will, my liege, this was my glow, here is the fellow of it, and he that I gore it to in change promised to wear it in his cap. I promised to strike him if he did. I met this man with my glow in his cap, and I hauben as good as my word. Flew, your Majesty here now, sawing your Majesty's manhood, what an errant rascally beggarly low-see nor it is. I hope your Majesty is peer me testimony and witness, and will auchment that this is the glow of a Lanson, that your Majesty is giu me, in your conscience now. King, giu me thy glow soldier. Look, here is the fellow of it. 'Twas I indeed thou promisedst to strike. And thou hast giu me most bitter terms. Flew, and please your Majesty, let his neck answer. For it, if there is any martial law in the world. King, how canst thou make me satisfaction? Will, all offences, my lord, come from the heart, newer. Came any from mine, that might offend your Majesty. King, it was ourself thou didst abuse. Will, your Majesty came not like yourself, you appeared to me but as a common man. Witness the night your garments, your lowliness, and what your highness suffered vienda that shape, I beseech you take it for your own fault and not mine. For had you been as I took you for, I made no offence, therefore I beseech your highness pardon me. King, here vien Seekly Exeter, fill this glow with crowns. And giu it to this fellow, keep it fellow. And wear it for an honour in thy cap. Till I do challenge it, giu him the crowns. And captain, you must needs be friends with him. Flew, by this day and this light the fellow has metal enough in his belly. Hold, there is 12 pence for you, and I pray you to seru guard and keep you out of prawls and prabbles, and quarrels and dissensions, and I warrant you it is the better for you. Will, I will none of your money. Flew, it is with a good will, I can tell you it will seru you to mend your shoes. Come, wherefore should you be so pashful, your shoes is not so good. 'Tis a good silling I warrant you, or I will change it. Enter Herald. King, now herald are the dead numbered. Herald, here is the number of the slaughtered.
French.
King, what prisoners of good sort are taken?
Vien Seekly.
Exe, Charles Duke of Orleans, nephew to the king. I own Duke of Bourbon and Lord Bouchiquald. Of other lords and barons, knights and squires. Full 1500 besides common men. King, this note doth tell me of 10,000 French. That in the field lie slain, of princes in this number. And nobles bearing banners there lie dead. 126, added to these, of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400, of the which few hundred were but yesterday dubbed knights, so that in these 10,000 they whore lost. There are but 1,600 mercenaries. The rest are princes, barons, lords, knights, squires, and gentlemen of bloud and quality. The names of those their nobles that lie dead: Charles de Labreth, High Constable of France; Ix of Chatillon, Admiral of France; the Master of the Crossbows, Lord Rambures; Great Master of France, the Braw Sir Gichard Dolphin; Ion Duke of Alençon, Anthony Duke of Brabant; the brother to the Duke of Burgundy; and Edward Duke of Bar, of lusty earls; Grandpré and Rousey, Fauconbridge and Foys; Beaumont and Marle, Vandemont and Lestrade. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of our English dead? Edward the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk; Sir Richard Ketley, Doygam Esquire; none else of name, and of all other men, but few and 20. O God, thy arm was here, and not to these but to thy arm alone. Ascribe we all, when without stratagem, but in plain shock and ewen play of battle, was ewer known so great and little loss. On one part and on th other take it guard, for it is none but thine. Exet tis wonderful. King, come, go we in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host, to boast of this or take that praise from God, which is his onely. Flew, is it not lawful and please your majesty to tell how many is killed? King, yes, captain, but with this acknowledgment, that God fought for Versus. Flew, yes, my conscience, he did these great good. King, do we all holy rites, let there be sung non nobis and te deum, the dead with charity enclosed in clay, and then to Calais and to England then, where near from France arrewed more happy men. Exeunt. Actus Quintus. Enter chorus. Vouchsafe to those that whore not read the story, that I may prompt them, and of such as whore, I humbly pray them to admit th excuse of time, of numbers, and due course of things, which cannot in their huge and proper life be here presented. Now we bear the king toward Calais, grant him there seen, hoe him away vipon your winged thoughts. Athwart the sea, behold the English beach, pales in the flood, with men, weus, and boys, whose shouts and claps outvoice the deep-mouthed sea, which like a mighty whiffler for the king seems to prepare his way. So let him land, and solemnly see him set on to London. So swift a pace hath thought that ewen now you may imagine him vipon Blackheath, where that his lords desire him to whore borne. His bruised helmet and his bended sword before him through the city, he forbids it, being free from vainness and self-glorious pride, dewing full trophy, signal and ostent, quite from himself to God. But now behold, in the quick forge and working house of thought, how London doth power out her citizens, the mayor and all his brethren in best sort, like to the senators of th antique Rome, with the plebeians swarming at their heels, go forth and fetch their conquering CSR, as by a lower but by lowing likelihood, were now the general of our gracious Empress, as in good time he may from Ireland coming, bringing rebellion broached on his sword. How many would the peaceful city quit, to welcome him, much more and much more cause, did they this Harry, now in London place him. As yet the lamentation of the French, Inuits the King of England stay at home, the emperors coming in behalf of France, to order peace between them, and omit all the occurrences what you are chanked, till Harry's baccy return again to France. There must we bring him, and myself whore played the interim by remembering you 'tis past. Then brook abridgment, and your eyes aduance. After your thoughts straight baccy again to France. Enter Fluelin and Gower. Gower, nay that's right, but why wear you your leek today, Estoy's day is past. Flew, there is occasions and causes why and wherefore in all things. I will tell you a my friend Captain Gower, the rascally, scold, beggarly, locy, pragging nor pistol, which you and yourself and all the world know to be no better than a fellow, look you now of no merits. He is come to me and prings me priad and salt yesterday, look you, and bid me eat my leek. It was in a place where I could not breed no contention with him, but I will be so bold as to wear it in my cap till I see him once again, and then I will tell him a little piece of my desires. Enter Pistol. Gower, why here he comes, swelling like a turkey-cock. Flew, 'tis no matter for his swellings nor his turkey-cocks. God bless you, ancient Pistol, you scurry locy. Nor God bless you. Pist ha art thou bedlam, doest thou thirst base. Troyan to hommy fold VP Parker's fatal web, hence I am qualmish at the smell of leek. Flew, I pesseech you heartily, scurry locy gnaw at my desires and my requests and my petitions to eat look you this leek, because look you do not allow it, nor your affections, and your appetites and your digestions does not agree with it, I would desire you to eat it. Pist, not for Cadwallader and all his goats. Flew, there is one goat for you. Strikes him. Will you be so good, scald gnaw as eat it? Pist, base Troyan, thou shalt die. Flew, you say very true, scald gnaw, when God's will is, I will desire you to lie you in the meantime and eat your victuals. Come, there is sauce for it. You called me yesterday mountain squire, but I will make you today a squire of low degree. I pray you fall to, if you can mock a leek you can eat a leek. Gur, enough captain, you whore astonished him. Flew, I say I will make him eat some part of my leek, or I will peat his pate 4 days. Bite I pray you, it is good for your green wound, and your pludy coxsacum. Pist, must I bite? Flew, yes certainly, and out of doubt and out of question. 2 and ambiguities. Pist, by this leek I will most horribly ruin Jai. Eat and eat I swear. Flew, eat I pray you, will you haw some more sauce? To your leek there is not enough leek to swear by. Pist, quiet thy cudgel, thou dost see I eat. Flew, much good do you scold gnaw heartily. Nay, pray you throw none away, the skin is good for your broken coxcomb. When you take occasions to see leeks hereafter, I pray you mark at 'em, that is all. Pist, good. Flew, I leeks is good, hold you there is a groat too. Heal your pate. Pist, me a groat. Flew, yes verily, and in truth you shall take it, or I whore another leek in my pocket, which you shall eat. Pist, I take thy groat in earnest of ruin. Flew, if I owe you anything I will pay you in cudgels, you shall be a woodmonger, and buy nothing of me but cudgels. God buy you and keep you, and heal your pate. Exit. Pist, all hell shall stir for this. Go, you are a counterfeit cowardly gnaw. Will you mark at an ancient tradition began VP Pan an honourable respect, and worn as a memorable trophy of predeceased valour, and dare not ouch in your deeds any of your words. I haw seen you gleeking and galling at this gentleman twice or thrice. You thought, because he could not speak English in the natty garb, he could not therefore handle an English cudgel. You find it otherwise, and henceforth let a Welsh correction teach you a good English condition, fare ye well. Exit. Pist, doeth fortune play the huswife with me now? News hoar I that my doll is dead, I spittle of a malady. Of France, and there my renduous is quite cut off. Old I do wax, and from my weary limbs honour is cudgelled, well bod I'll turn in something lean to. Cut purse of quick hand, to England will I steal and there I'll steal. And patches will I get VNTO these cudgelled scars. and swore I got them in the Gallia wars. Enter at one door, King Henry, Exeter, Bedford, Warwick and other lords, at another, Queen Isabel, the King, the Duke of Burgundy and other French. King, peace to this meeting wherefore we are met. VNTO our brother France, and to our sister, health and fair time of day, aye and good wishes. To our most fair and princely cosign Catherine, and as a branch and member of this royalty, by whom this great assembly is contributed, we do salute you, Duke of Burgundy, and princes French and peers, health to you all. Fra, right eager are we to behold your face, most worthy brother England, fairly met. So are you princes English, Uri one. Qui, so happy be the issue brother Ireland, of this good day and of this gracious meeting, as we are now glad to behold your eyes which hitherto ha borne in them against the French that met them in their bent, the fatal balls of murthering basilisks, the venom of such looks we fairly hope, ha lost their quality, and that this day shall change all griefs and quarrels into low. To cry amen to that thus we appear. Qui, you English princes all, I do salute you. Berg, my duty to you both on equal low. Great kings of France and England, that I ha laboured with all my wits, my pains and strong endures, to bring your most imperial majesties VNTO this bar and royal interview. Your mightiness on both parts best can witness, since then my office hath so far prevailed, that face to face and royal eye to eye, you ha congregated, let it not disgrace me, if I demand before this royal view, what rub or what impediment there is, why that the naked, poor and mangled piece, dear nurse of arts, plenties and eyeful births, should not in this best garden of the world, our fertile France put VP her lowly visage. Alas, she hath from France too long been chased, and all her husbandry doth lie on heaps, corrupting in it own fertility. Her vine, the merry cheerer of the heart, VM pruned dies, her hedges ewen pleached, like prisoners wildly overgrown with hair, put forth disordered twigs, her fallow lees, the darnel hemlock and rank cemetery, doth root vipon, while that the coulter rusts, that should derasnate such soigery. The ewen mead that erst brought sweetly forth, the freckled cowslip, burnet and green clower, wanting the scythes with all the corrected rank, conceals by idleness and nothing teems, but hateful darks, rough thistles, kexeyes, burrs, losing both beauty and vitality, and all our vineyards, fallows, meads and hedges, defect to you in their natures, grow to wildness. You and so our houses and our cellars and children, who lost or do not learn for want of time, the sciences that should become our country, but grow like soldiers, as soldiers will, that nothing do but meditate on blood, to swearing and stern looks, defuzzed attire, and every thing that seems VN natural, which to reduce into our former four, you are assembled, and my speech entreats, that I may know the let why gentle peace should not expel these inconveniences, and bless these with her former qualities. If Duke of Burgundy you would the peace, whose want Gu's growth to th imperfections, which you ha cited, you must buy that peace, with full accord to all our earst demands, whose tenures and particular effects you ha enscheduled briefly in your hands. Berg the king hath heard them, to the which as yet there is no answer made. Well then, the peace which you before so vrg'd lies in his answer. France I whore but with a cursilary eye. Glank the articles, pleaseth your grace. To appoint some of your counsel presently. To sit with these once more, with better heed. To resurvey them, we will suddenly pass our accept and peremptory answer. England, brother, we shall go vn secretly Exeter. And brother Clarence, and you, brother Gloucester. Warwick and Huntington, go with the king. And take with you free power to ratify. Augment or alter, as your wisdom's best. Shall see advantageable for our dignity. Anything in or out of our demands. And we'll consent thereto. Will you, fair sister, go with the princes or stay here with Versus? Qui, our gracious brother, I will go with them. Happily a woman's voice may do some good. When articles too nicely vrg'd be stood on. England, yet lo our cousin Catherine here with these. She is our capital demand compressed. Within the forerank of our articles. Qui she hath good lo. Exeunt omnes. Manet King and Catherine. King, fair Catherine and most fair. Will you vouchsafe to teach us soldier terms, such as will enter at a lady's ear, and plead his lawsuit to her gentle heart? Cath, your majesty shall mock at me, I cannot speak. Your England. King, O fair Catherine, if you will allow me soundly with your French heart, I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate? Cath, pardon moi, I cannot tell what is like me. King, an angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel. Cath, quedit ill quer I sways semblable a less anges. Lady, owie veriment, soft vaster grace, ain't sie dit ill. King, I said so, dear Catherine, and I must not blush to affirm it. Cath, o bon Dieu, les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperies. King, what says she, fair one, that the tongues of men are full of deceits? Lady, owie, dat the tongues of demands is be full of deceits. Dat is de princess. King, the princess is the better Englishwoman. If faith, Kate, my wooing is fit for thy understanding, I am glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst thou wouldst find me such a plain king, that thou wouldst think I had sold my farm to buy my crown. I know no ways to mince it in low, but directly to say I low you. Then if you vrge me farther than to say do you in faith, I wear out my sweet. G you me your answer if it do, and so clap hands and a bargain. How say you, lady? Cath, soft foster honer me understand well. King, Mary, if you would put me to verses or to dance for your sake, Kate, why you did me. For the one I haw neither words nor measure, and for the other I haw no strength in measure, yet a reasonable measure in strength. If I could win a lady at leap-frog, or by vaulting into my saddle with my armour on my backy, viender the correction of bragging be it spoken, I should quickly leap into a wife, or if I might buffet for my low or bound my horse for her fours, I could lay on like a butcher, and sit like a iac in apes, newer off, but before God, Kate, I cannot look greenly, nor gasp out my eloquence, nor I haw no cunning in protestation, onely downright oaths which I newer vsc till vrg'd, nor newer break for vrging. If thou canst allow a fellow of this temper, Kate, whose face is not worth sun-burning, that newer looks in his glass for low of anything he sees there. Let thine eye be thy cook, I speak to thee plain soldier, if thou canst allow me for this, take me. If not, to say to thee that I shall die is true, but for thy low by the no, yet I low thee too. And while thou liest, dear Kate, take a fellow of plain and encoined constancy, for he perforce must do thee right, because he hath not the gift to woo in other places. For these fellows of infinite tongue, that can rhyme themselves into ladies' fours, they do always reason themselves out again. What? A speaker is but a prater, a rhyme is but a ballad. A good leg will fall, a straight backy will stoop, a blacky beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald, a fair face will wither, a full eye will wax hollow. But a good heart, Kate, is the sun and the moon, or rather the sun and not the moon, for it shines bright and newer changes but keeps his course truly. If thou would haw such a one, take me, and take me, take a soldier, take a king. And what say'st thou then to my low? Speak my fair, and fairly I pray thee. Cath, is it possible dat I sold low de enemy of France? King, No, it is not possible you should allow the enemy of France, Kate, but in allowing me you should allow the friend of France, for I allow France so well that I will not part with a village of it, I will whore it all mine, and Kate, when France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France and you are mine.
Kath, I cannot tell what is dat.
King, no, Kate, I will tell thee in French, which I am sure will hang thee upon my tongue, like a new married wife about her husband's neck, hardly to be shook off, I quan sur la possession de France and quand vous os la possession de moi. Let me see, what then? Saint Denis be my speed, donc vostre est France and vous ests mien. It is as easy for me, Kate, to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. I shall newer moo thee in French, vien less it be to laugh at me.
Kath, sauf vostre honneur, le François ques vous parlez, il en melius quel anglois lequel I parle.
King, no faith is not, Kate, but thy speaking of my tongue and I thine most truly falsely must needs be granted to be much at one. But Kate, dost thou vien dursten thus much English, canst thou allow me? Kath, I cannot tell.
King, can any of your neighbours tell, Kate? I'll ask them.
Come, I know thou allowest me, and at night when you come into your closet you let question this gentlewoman about me, and I know, Kate, you will to her dispraise those parts in me that you allow with your heart. But good Kate, mark me mercifully, the rather gentle princess, because I allow thee cruelly. If you thou beest mine, Kate, as I horror sawing faith within me tells me thou shalt, I get thee with scambling, and thou must therefore needs prow a good soldier breeder. Shall not thou and I, between St. Denis and St. George, compound a boy half French half English, that shall go to Constantinople and take the Turk by the beard? Shall we not? What sayst thou, my fair flower de luce?
Kate, I do not know dat.
King, no, 'tis hereafter to know, but now to promise. Do but now promise, Kate, you will endower for your French part of such a boy, and for my English moiety take the word of a king and a bachelor. How answer you? La plus belle Catherine du monde mon treasure and du in DS.
Kath, your majesty or fors French enough to deceive you de most sage demoiselle dat is en France.
King, now fie upon my false French, by mine honour in true English I allow thee, Kate, by which honour I dare not swear thou allowest me, yet my blood begins to flatter me that thou dost, notwithstanding the poor and vien tempering effect of my visage. Now beshrew my father's ambition, he was thinking of Cuil wars when he got me, therefore was I created with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron, that when I come to woo ladies I fright them. But in faith, Kate, the elder I wax, the better I shall appear. My comfort is that old age, that ill layer VP of beauty, can do no more spoil vipon my face. Thou hast me if thou hast me at the worst, and thou shalt wear me if thou wear me better and better, and therefore tell me, most fair Catherine, will you whore me? Put off your maiden blushes, arch the thoughts of your heart with the looks of an empress, take me by the hand, and say, Harry of England, I am thine. Which word thou shalt no sooner bless mine ear withal, but I will tell thee aloud, England is thine, Ireland is thine, France is thine, and Henry Plantagenet is thine. Who though I speak it before his face, if he be not fellow with the best king, thou shalt find the best king of good fellows. Come your answer in broken music, for thy voice is music and thy English broken. Therefore, queen of all, Catherine, break thy mind to me in broken English. Wilt thou whore me? Cath, dat is as it shall please de Roy mon peer.
King, nay, it will please him well, Kate, it shall please him, Kate.
Cath, den it shall also content me. King, vipon that I kiss your hand and I call you my
queen.
Cath, lace mon seigneur lace me foy, I ne views point que vous abbes vostre grandius, en basant le main d, un noster seigneur indigni seretur excuse moi. I vous supply mon tres puissant seigneur.
King, then I will kiss your lips, Kate.
Cath, les dames and damoiselles pour Esther baisy duant. Leur nopsies il net par le costume de France. King, madame, my interpreter, what says she? Lady, dat it is not be de fashion pour le ladies of France, I cannot tell what is buis en English.
King to kisseth.
Lady, your majesty entendre better que moi. King, it is not a fashion for the maids in France to kiss before they are married, would she say? Lady, owie veriment. King, O Kate, nice customs cursey to great kings. Dear Kate, you and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate, and the liberty that follows our places stops the mouth of all fine faults, as I will do yours, for folding the nice fashion of your country in denying me a kiss. Therefore, patiently and yielding, you whore witchcraft in your lips, Kate,
there is more eloquence in a sugar touch of them than in the tongues of the French council, and they should sooner persuade Harry of England than a general petition of monarchs. Here comes your father, enter the French power and the English lords. Berg, God so your majesty, my royal cousin. Teach you our princess English. King, I would ha her learn my fair cousin how. Perfectly I allow her, and that is good English. Berg, is she not apt? King, our tongue is rough coz and my condition is not smooth, so that hoing neither the voice nor the heart of flattery about me, I cannot so conny or vp the spirit of Lao in her, that he will appear in his true likeness. Berg, pardon the frankness of my mirth if I answer you for that. If you would conny in her you must make a circle. If conny or vp Lao in her in his true likeness, he must appear naked and blind. Can you blame her then, being a maid yet rased hour with the virgin crimson of modesty, if she deny the appearance of a naked blind boy in her naked seeing self? It were, my lord, a hard condition for a maid to conseen to. King, yet they do wink and yield as Lao is blind. And in forces. Berg, they are then excused, my lord, when they see not what they do. King, then good my lord, teach your cousin to consent winking. Berg, I will wink on her to consent, my lord, if you will teach her to know my meaning. For maids well summered and warm kept are like flies at Bartholomew tide blind, though they whore their eyes, and then they will endure handling, which before would not abide looking on. King, this moral ties me hour to time and a hot summer, and so I shall catch the fly your cousin in the latter end, and she must be blind too. Berg, as Lao is my lord before it Laos. King, it is so, and you may some of you thank Lao for my blindness, who cannot see many a fair French city for one fair French maid that stands in my way. French King, yes my lord, you see them perspectually, the cities turned into a maid, for they are all girdled with maiden walls that war hath entered. England, shall Kate be my wife? France, so please you. England, I am content, so the maiden cities you talk of may wait on her, so the maid that stood in the way for my wish shall show me the way to my will. France, we ha consented to all terms of reason. England, is't so, my lords of England? West, the king hath granted uery article. His daughter first, and in sequel all, according to their firm proposed natures. Exet, onely he hath not yet subscribed this, where your majesty demands that the king of France hoing any occasion to write for matter of grant, shall name your highness in this form, and with this addition in French, Noster Treasure fills Henry Roy d Angleterra Heriter de France, and thus in Latin, Preclarissimus filius Noster Henricus Rex Angli A and here's Franciae. France, nor this I ha not brother so denied. But your request shall make me let it pass. England, I pray you then in Lao and dear alliance, let that one article rank with the rest, and thereupon giu me your daughter. France, take her fair son and from her blood race VP, issue to me that the contending kingdoms of France and England, whose very shores look pale, within eye of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, and this dear conjunction plant neighbourhood and Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms, that newer waraduance, his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France. Lords, amen. King, now welcome Kate, and bear me witness all, that here I kiss her as my sour rainy queen. Flourish. Qui, God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your hearts in one, your realms in one, as man and wife being two, are one in Lao. So be there twixt your kingdoms such a spousal, that newer may ill office or fell earlousy, which troubles off the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the paction of these kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league, that English may as French Englishmen receive each other. God speak this amen. Old amen. King, prepare we for our marriage, on which day my lord of Burgundy we'll take your oaths, and all the peers for surety of our leagues Then shall I swear to Kate and you to me, and may our oaths well kept and prosperous be. Senate exeunt. Enter chorus. Thus far with rough and all venable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story, in little room confining mighty men, mangling by starts the full course of their glory. Small time, but in that small most greatly liewed, this star of England, fortune made his sword, by which the world's best garden he achieved, and of it left his son imperial lord, Henry the Sixth, in infant bands crowned king. Of France and England did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing, that they lost France and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown, and for their sake, in your fair minds let this acceptance take. Finis, the life of Henry the Fifth,